What is up, guys? Expecto Patronum. We are here for another episode of the Meaning of Podcast, and it is a very special Harry Potter episode, which is why we got a special guest, an actual Potterhead, because RB3 and I cannot claim that, even though we are in full props.
Hold on a second. I don't want to completely claim that I'm a Potterhead.
We scoured the world.
Yeah.
We searched the Wizarding world to find someone who was a fan of Harry Potter.
Read the books. I've seen the movies.
And I
don't want to be... go
Copster.
Christian, thank you.
Ruvalcaba.
Thank you. What's up?
Round of applause, everybody.
Thank you. What up?
Because RB3 and I are not. Well, I like the movies, but that's kind of
the thing, though. I don't want to get into that tricky territory where I don't want to be in a bubble because I say I am a fan of thing. If I get shit wrong, it does not mean I don't know what's going on. I like the shit. I don't know everything. I'm not claiming that I know at all. I can't go in the schmodown and be like, yo, I know everything about Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But,
you know. I can hear the comments already. You should have gone to real fan.
Yeah,
people are too much.
I like it. It's not enough that you can't just like it. You have to fucking know everything. Sorry, I curse. I'm sorry.
I will say though, there have been times I've stood next to you at the Schmodown, and there's some Harry Potter questions, and you're like, oh, I knew that one. Like,
yeah, but do I give you the actual answer, or do I just say I knew that one? Maybe I'm just sometimes bullshit.
Hey man,
just to make me look a little bit cooler.
Hey, I love it.
Either way, this is a franchise that I have been recently introduced to. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago when I first watched the movies for the very first time.
No, didn't even see any in theater.
Never saw a single one in theater.
Okay.
Never saw a single one of these Harry Potter movies in theater.
Like 5 of them.
I literally started watching these movies 2 years ago, and I just binged them all, and I made like a whole Harry Potter series.
Nice.
I did a Harry Potter party for the last movie for Deathly Hallows Part 2. I invited you guys.
Yeah, I didn't go.
I invited.
Sorry.
You know who went?
Cody
Holy
did.
crap! No, Cody didn't go. Cody was gonna go. I know he told me he was gonna come. But you know who went? Freaking, what was the homie's name? Jake.
Oh, Jake Damon?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Because I
shout out to
invited
Jake.
It was his second week at Schmoes.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I'll invite him, sure. And I invited him. I didn't expect him to come. And then sure enough, he's like, hey, what's up, man? I'm here for your Harry Potter party. And I'm like,
nice.
Cool.
Good. Yeah. Shout out to Jake.
But it was a lot of fun.
No
We had like my now roommate, my current roommate, but then coworker, made little golden snitch cake pops.
Yes.
I dressed up as Harry Potter,
Yes.
which is why I have the freaking glasses and wand.
Who his father should be, Snape.
Hot
take.
Spoilers. No, I'm kidding.
Could be. You never know.
So yeah, it was a fun Harry Potter party, and it was my first time watching the movies, and I just got into them, and I'll get into why I kind of never saw them originally.
Okay.
But we'll get more into that during the episode. Either way, guys, the reason why we're doing this, obviously, is because Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald is in theaters, and that's about it.
Yeah. Grindelwald.
Because it probably won't last too long in theaters, at least not what they wanted, because that opening weekend, man, I'm an opening weekend guy, dude. I'm like, I didn't make the money, bro.
And then
this didn't it make like 300 million or some shit?
No, I
50
made
something.
62 mil opening weekend.
Worldwide?
Worldwide, it was more,
Yeah.
Worldwide, it was definitely a lot more. Either way, guys, we're going to get into all that stuff. We'll start out with Fantastic Beasts, and then we'll get into the Harry Potter films. We get into our introduction to it. We'll get into a little bit more knowledge with the knowledgeable Copster to see more about the books.
I remember there's some shit in the books that I know that are differences, but
we'll get the whole in the books quotes. And we'll get into all that. But before we do that, we're going to read your comments from last week's episode.
Oh, shit.
Where I grilled RB3.
Yeah.
Just straight up put him to the fire.
Before we read
for
these
Illumination Entertainment.
Before we read these comments, I have a very big counterpoint to everything you said to me last week. Your main point was that you thought that animated films. This was Ace's main point, Cops.
This is hot take.
In case you didn't listen.
Okay.
He was a little upset that Illumination Entertainment made films that are targeted to kids and that just were full of poop jokes and stuff.
No, I didn't say that. I said that they were
roll the tape.
They had no
roll the tape.
They had no substance.
No substance. And then, but then you're like, do you think a G-rated franchise needs substance? To which to actually makes zero sense because all of the Illumination movies are rated PG.
Oh,
are they really?
Snap.
All of them. Every single one of them.
Parental guidance.
Really?
They didn't just straight
I gave him like 4 PG movies, and he was like, no, G-rated only.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can think. You put me in the corner, but they're PG. I checked.
Really?
Damn.
All the Minions, I think maybe one of them. I think maybe Sing
This
is
is
like,
like big news, bro.
Dang, looks like the real G is right here.
Trump is gonna tweet about this shit, bro.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. Otherwise, I don't care. I thought that was a fun episode. But
Yeah.
the PG. After I
It
realized
does
that,
make a difference, man.
Just school
I
do.
think it does. I don't know what's your take on this whole
Oh,
thing.
I won't
Like,
see anything below an R. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
below an R.
No, but I don't know. Like, kids movies. I don't even know. Wasn't the last G movie? Was The Grinch G or is that PG?
No, I mean freaking Coco was G. Are you saying what was the last like G-rated animated
yeah.
movie? No, Coco.
Coco was G.
Moana.
No
Yeah.
shit. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. see,
no, Moana was PG.
just-
Moana was PG.
Oh, was it?
yeah. There's like
Yeah,
death and
okay.
violence in there.
I was just saying to RB3 the difference between watching Illumination Entertainment and what's the target demographic versus a Disney movie where I'm
yeah.
like I can go with my homies to see a Disney movie and it's not weird.
Yeah.
If I go see Grinchmas by myself or with my homies, it's kind of weird. Because Illumination
Yeah, I see what you're
Entertainment doesn't do both audiences.
They
just
don't
do kids.
and that's fine.
It's fine.
That's
It's totally fine.
It probably works for them
Yeah,
too. I've
that makes
never
them
been
money.
I've never been sold on like a Minions or
Yeah.
Despicable Me or anything.
I said the same thing last week.
Like
to
even
RB3.
DreamWorks,
Hey.
even DreamWorks tries to be. They're like the wannabe Pixar. That's not saying a bad thing, but they because they do quality work. But yeah, Illumination's just not. No, I'm cool. I don't. Need
I mean,
no
I don't
little-
hate them. I don't hate them. I just thought they had some deeper meanings in their films that like were that they were saying some things.
Do you agree with that?
Well, again, I don't even like care. Like I don't even remember the last time that I've seen an animated movie in theaters. To be honest with you, it might
That's
have
cool.
been.
That's cool.
It might have been Inside Out, which is not. That long
Inside Out's
ago,
great, yeah.
But you really have to get me. Like it's really I really have to be sold on what I'm going to be seeing. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like if not like even like I missed out on Coco. That
No
might have
way,
been.
you never saw it?
I did
Coco's
see it.
great.
I ended
Oh,
up
okay.
seeing it,
Yeah.
but I ended up seeing it on Blu-ray. It's just
right.
I think it
right.
got to a point where I was like, it passed by. If it's
Sure.
not the opening weekend shit, it went
Yeah.
by me. But I saw it and I cried.
Yeah,
It's
me
like-
too.
That's the other thing, though. I don't like
cried
seeing
twice.
Pixar movies anymore because I know they mess me up.
Yeah.
Ever
Yeah.
since Toy Story 3,
Yeah.
I've only
Yeah.
seen that movie twice. I will never watch it again.
Yeah.
Because that movie messes me up. I cry every time.
I go in like ready now. Like I told
Yeah.
you last week. I watch animated movies every year with my mom, and it makes it even worse.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you're like, crap. I'm watching Moana with my mom, and then I
Yeah.
saw Coco with my mom.
Don't see Coco with your mom or
And- oh,
grandmother.
dude,
Jesus.
yeah.
Yeah. No. Oh God.
and
damn.
then I'm probably gonna watch Ralph Breaks
I'll
the
record-
Internet.
I'll
I'll probably
record-
cry in Ralph
I
Breaks
might
the
go.
Internet.
Oh no, I lied. I saw Incredibles 2.
Oh, okay. There you
Yeah,
go.
but I knew I wasn't like.
That's not like that's not
that's not a
like
crime,
I mean,
yeah.
I feel like adults are like going to like
Yeah.
That's
watch
true.
that.
They're not
anymore.
gonna kill Jack in the second act.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? It's like
Yeah.
That movie sucked anyway.
Still,
what?
come on, man.
Incredibles 2?
Dude.
Yes.
That movie's great.
Oh yeah, we did talk about
Yeah,
it.
I
We
love
reviewed it.
Incredibles 2.
Oh man,
Yeah, I thought it was
can't-
fun.
I can't rock with that one at all, man.
Oh man,
I thought
liked it.
I was very disappointed.
Oh, okay.
Highly disappointed.
Yeah.
Alright.
Either
That's just
way,
my
I'll
opinion.
probably watch Ralph Breaks the Internet, then Creed 2.
I am gonna see. I do
I'll
want to see
probably
that.
cry in that movie.
I was
man.
just
maybe.
across the street at the movies, and then like as I'm walking out, there's lines and lines of kids seeing this Wreck-It Ralph movie. Man,
Is that already?
Yeah,
That's out
yeah,
this
yeah.
weekend.
It's coming. It's coming
You
out
think it's gonna
tonight
be?
as for the.
It's gonna be
previews.
Creed 2.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay,
Easy,
yeah.
easy. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
She's the
Because
director of Creed 2 in today.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he was cool.
Hey, Stephen
He's
Cable
cool,
Jr.
dude. Yeah.
USC
Yeah,
alumni.
Wait,
Right
he
on.
was here?
Yeah, he was here. He was sitting.
no
He
way.
was sitting right there.
I hanged
Hey,
out with
I'm like, look at him here.
I hanged out with Dolph Lundgren yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
And how was that?
He was cool.
He's
He
just
was
chilling
real
at the
nice.
house?
He was real nice, man. He was a real nice guy.
Was it a work thing?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
That's pretty dope.
That's
I can't lie, man. I was standing next to him and I was like, you know what? He ain't even that big. That was
Yeah.
literally the first thought that came into my
He's
head.
probably pretty short.
he was a
tall.
He's a big, thick dude.
Yeah.
But
He's not like tall, or.
I didn't feel like he was that tall, man. I don't know. Maybe
right.
it's because I'm like, I don't know.
They show
I
him-
feel bigger than I actually
Like
am.
you can take him.
Yeah, I'm like,
you
I
can take
could
him.
beat him.
They're shooting him from high angles in Rocky 4. Did you tell him? I think Rocky 4 is the worst. Rocky
Of course
movie?
not RB3. Why would I say that?
I just think you should tell people that, man.
Over Rocky 5?
My friend
Yes.
RB3
Oh, wow.
says
Rocky 5 is way better than Rocky 4.
Ooh,
in my
that's
opinion.
a hot take.
Yeah.
Because that's an incorrect take, RB3.
That's a fact.
Also,
No.
Creed's the best
Negative
Rocky
100
movie.
points for
I agree with that.
RB3. Either way, let's get to at least one comment before we go off the rails.
Talk about Harry Potter already.
I know. I'm going to read it. The longest comment on here made by our frequent commenter / listener, Tony Wagner.
Tony Wagner.
Who calls me out so many times. But
Hey, Tony.
he's calling us out again, RB3. He says, his comment is, I never thought an Illumination animation episode would happen before an episode dedicated to Kubrick, Scorsese, or the Coen brothers.
Great point.
Still, you guys made some great points on how Illumination tries to make anything special since they're just blinded by the money that they make. The movies that companies such as Pixar and DreamWorks make are not nearly as good as they were many years ago, but it's still dedication and effort that's shown for their movies when it comes to animation and each character design. Unlike them, every aspect in Illumination's film, especially the character, setting, and plot, feel very lazily designed and structured. Sadly, these effortless films will keep being made because they never stop making so much money. Also, have you guys seen The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, the new Coen brothers film? And give me your thoughts if you have. Have you seen that movie?
It's a Netflix movie. It's on Netflix, yeah. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to really sit down for Coen Brothers films.
Either way, man, he's calling out Illumination. He's pretty much agreeing with what I said.
And looking up the filmography of Illumination, I have not seen any of their movies.
Really?
No interest in seeing any of them.
Not Despicable Me?
No interest.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Despicable Me,
Despicable
Me and Despicable Me 2 are great movies.
Sing, I saw the trailer and I wanted to jump out of a building.
Sing is good. Sing is decent. Man, y'all ain't giving this a chance. But I do agree. We haven't gotten to Kubrick yet, but we don't want to fuck up the episodes.
It's so funny. I went to Perry's birthday over the weekend, and I talked to Cushing, Rachel Cushing.
Yeah.
And I was
You didn't get Rachel. You should have got Rachel.
Right, that's what I said.
Or Emma.
I want Rachel Cushing on the show
Those two
eventually,
know
and I
their
told
Harry
her.
Potter. I mean, they know their stuff in general.
And
but
the first thing
those
she
are the
says to
biggest
me,
Harry
I was
Potter
like, "Oh, what would you like to do?" And she's like, "Well, I noticed you guys haven't done any classic directors." And I'm like, "Yo, what is it? You were trying to say?" No, I'm probably going to say that. But it's true. We haven't really done any.
Yes,
we should
I would love
RB3.
to. Well, I want to.
It's your fault, man.
It's my fault?
Yeah.
Well, no. I really feel like we should take our time and really
prepare for
because especially for something like Scorsese has like
or
26
Hitchcock,
movies.
It's just so
You guys
many.
didn't
Now we could do
movies?
Hitchcock. Now I do have a plan for Hitchcock though.
Okay.
I do have a plan for
I
Hitchcock.
thought you did Kubrick already. You didn't?
No, we didn't. No.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
We've been
Kubrick's
actively
tough
avoiding
too
that one.
because
That's
most people he has so many
Yeah.
movies before the ones that most people talk about.
And they're all
Yeah.
long, man.
Long and black and
that's
white.
That's the problem, man. They're just long. Like if they were like a good $1.45, I could probably binge them, but once you're like in 250 range, I'm like, ooh.
Well, and then the thing is,
I'm going to bed.
Well, Kubrick is hard too, because like, one film is almost an episode. Like you could do like in an entirety. You know what I mean? So it's
yes.
like we have to figure out. But I think I think for Hitchcock though, I got a pitch for you, Ace. I got a pitch for you.
Ooh,
I got a
pitch it.
pitch for you.
You want to pitch it now on air?
Or sure,
on the Harry Potter episode?
No. But I mean, but shit, man. I my professor at USC, Drew Casper. He's the top Hitchcock expert, bro. The top.
You want to have him on the
certified
show?
from family.
That's pretty cool.
Professor?
That's cool.
It'll probably be tough to get him on. I'd probably do like an interview or something. Like we could do an interview and like cut it in or something like that. Like do
That'd
something
be
like that. We'll
sweet.
figure it out. We'll figure it out.
But
But
man.
he's the top Hitchcock guy, yo. Top
Yeah.
Hitchcock guy in the world.
Good deal. Let's read one more before we move on. Raul Alejandro Mendoza,
My man.
the
Hell
homie, he says, "This is my second favorite episode. Y'all got into some deep ass shit. I completely agree with the underlying problematic racism in some of the films. I'm glad people call them out on it because we should be learning to move on from it. Love the episode, dudes. Great job as always." Oh, cool. Thanks, man. I feel like he can. Those are the kind of comments we'll get because that's kind of how we talk on the episode.
Yeah.
We're having intelligent conversations as
you
we're like,
should.
"Yo, that's some crazy shit," and we're like cussing like every other word. Apologies for all the bad words.
I like how
guys.
you read 2 pro Ace comments, 0 pro RB3 comments.
What are
Zero.
you talking about?
No, I'm just kidding.
I was
I
gonna
feel like the
say.
child of
What
between
do-
mom and dad right now.
Give me some RB. Give me at least one RB3 one, man.
Whose house am I staying
No.
at tonight?
Let's get
It's like,
into this week's. I always do that, bro. I cut
Y'all are
you
both
off.
Gryffindor. Oh, you don't know if you're
Right
Gryffindor
when you
yet.
start
I haven't done it. I haven't done
We
the
can
test
just
yet.
do it right now, bro. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Uh-oh.
All right, easy where you point those things, guys. Come on. Those aren't toys. Come on.
He's all right?
Now let's get into this week's episode, which is on the Harry Potter film franchise. We will talk about the Harry Potter films, and the reason why we're doing this is because of the new movie that has just come out over the weekend, Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald. And I can't lie, guys. Real quick, I'll go into it again. I recently got into these films.
Right.
Growing up as a kid, it was Star Wars for me. It was all
Yeah.
Star Wars. That's what took over my life, my childhood. And as a kid, I wasn't really allowed to watch the Harry Potter films, if you know what I'm saying. So I never really got the chance chance to. So 2 years ago, I went on the adventure. I saw the Harry Potter films. I made a whole event about it. I did the party. But I can't lie, man. As someone who doesn't know anything and has not read the books, I love this world.
Yeah.
I think the wizarding world is so freaking cool. I love the freaking Britishness of it. I love how
it's so British.
It's so British.
Yeah.
I love how quirky it is. I love how fun it is. I love how it's childish while at the same time having some very serious elements. I love the themes of it because it's very much a metaphor and an allegory for racism. Let's just say it. I mean, a lot of it is about race and class and all
religion
this stuff.
too. I say
religion
a
as
little more
well.
religion. Yeah.
It's some really interesting stuff. I love this world. So the whole spin-off franchise, it was right when I was getting into it. Fantastic Beasts was coming out, was kind of when I was, getting into these movies, or at least when they announced that it was coming out. So as I watched Fantastic Beasts for the second time, because I can't lie, for the first time I was kind of in and out. And by in and out, I mean not really there. But watching Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them the second time around, I genuinely enjoy this movie. I genuinely enjoy that world.
Yeah.
The New York 1920s flappers, like Harry Potter wizarding stuff.
Flappers?
Like kind of that world, the 20s world.
Like the flappers, like the chicks, like they were like
Kind of, yeah. Well, it's that era.
Granted, I didn't see anything past the first 50 minutes or so for the first one.
Then why are you talking shit,
I
bro?
have a real hard time staying awake through that movie, but
What I'm trying to say is I like the kind of adaptation that J.K. Rowling was trying to do in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And I actually kind of like Newt Scamander. He's not my favorite. I probably will say Tina Goldstein is my favorite. Shout out to Tina. I love Tina, man. Freaking what's her face? I don't know.
I know the actress name.
I forget her name.
Blonde lady. She's very adult. She's beautiful.
She's beautiful.
Great actress.
She's great. She was in Alien Covenant.
I'm sorry. Catherine Waterston.
Catherine Waterston.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about her sister.
No.
Yeah.
I put Tina.
Jeannie?
Everyone liked her sister, but I was like, Tina, man. Tina's my girl, dude.
Okay.
I love Tina.
Yeah, Catherine Waterston. She's
Catherine
great.
Waterston is
I like
great.
her a lot.
I like what's his face, Jacob, the Muggle, the Nomad.
Oh yeah.
The baker.
Dan. Oh, come on, Dan. Get it.
Jacob.
Not Dan.
I forget his last name, but
Aykroyd? Aykroyd?
No.
definitely not Aykroyd.
Gosh, it's Dan something.
Either way, I like the characters. I like the world.
Dan Fogel.
Dan Fogel. There you go. I like the world. I liked
Sure.
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. It's not the best Harry Potter movie, but I really did enjoy it. So going into this movie, I kind of went off that kind of positive vibe, and I guess that's why I came away with probably the most positive take out of anyone I've seen on Twitter so far, and anyone I've seen on Rotten Tomatoes. I liked The Crimes of Grindelwald, man. I liked it. So I want to go to you guys, starting with you, Copster. What did you think of this movie?
I too. I thought it was fine. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I know that there's some kind of weird inconsistencies as far as timeline goes. Like that, I didn't really know. Like I didn't pick it out too much. Like there's like a certain character that pops up. Like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I see it on Twitter. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. I guess that doesn't make any sense. But I mean, J.K. Rowling wrote the script, so what's going on here? That's kind of weird. But
are you talking about McDonald?
Oh well, yeah. If we're gonna spoil shit, I don't know if people.
I would
imagine if you're a Harry Potter fan,
if you're watching this episode, then you should have seen Fantastic
and if
Beasts.
you're like a big Harry Potter fan, you would have probably seen Fantastic Beasts. Yeah, McGonagall pops up for a very brief scene,
and she wasn't even born yet.
Yeah, supposedly like 8 years before she was actually born, and people were trying to justify it. Yeah,
I think it's her mother or something, man. They
could
just have the same
Yeah,
name.
it definitely could be. But
I mean, you're Robert Butler the third.
Yeah.
So your dad is Robert Butler plus
The
another.
second.
Yeah, it's not like
cool.
You know what I'm saying? Like parents,
way too cool.
Parents name their names to their kids. They just pass down their names.
Yeah, so that didn't bother me. But I enjoyed it. I think there was like some really fun and entertaining moments throughout it. There's a couple twists and turns. You're like, oh, I didn't expect that.
Sure.
Going off the first one, I thought the first one's fine as well.
Which one do you prefer?
Oh, God, I don't know. I kind of toss between the two. I think there's a lot more that happens in Crimes of Grindelwald. Some stuff that kind of subvert your expectations a little bit.
A lot more important stuff that happens?
Yeah, there's more risk. They obviously tie it into the original series a lot more, which the thing I actually liked about the first movie is that they didn't hand-fist any sort of references. There's a couple of things here and there where he's like, oh, we call them muggles, or, I went to Hogwarts, the best school, the best wizarding school that there is, but it's nothing too much to be like, okay, I get it. This is part of it's pretty much on its own for the most part.
Whereas the Crimes of Grindelwald
they
was like
I don't even
reference
know.
after reference after reference.
I mean, there was a big applause when Hogwarts shows, like a huge applause. Like
I just started. I literally said this already, but I just started watching Harry Potter, and I still got chills when they showed Harry Potter and they played that theme of Hogwarts. And I
it's
was
pretty
like,
good.
Oh, this is so cool, man! I loved it.
The biggest takeaway I had from the original Fantastic Beasts is, well, my favorite part of that movie is Colin Farrell. I think he's great in that movie.
He's great.
But the fact that they replaced him with Johnny Depp is not my favorite. I was hoping at least at some point in Crimes of Grindelwald, like he would pop up, because like it could have just been like he could have just drinking Pauly G's potion, and just like disguised himself. So like, where's the real Graves? I think his name was. Have him pop up. That would have been a nice little twist in there, but it didn't happen. And Johnny Depp's fine in the movie. I don't care, but Colin Farrell's way better.
Yeah, I mean, the movie was a little messy. What did you think, RB3? You just saw it 5 minutes ago,
Yeah,
right?
5 minutes ago. Yeah, came
What'd you
over,
think?
walked right across the street. I thought it was fine.
Did you
Really?
fall asleep in that one too?
I didn't fall asleep. Well, for like 5 minutes, but it held my attention for a lot longer.
It's very scattered brain.
Yeah. But it was one of those things of like I fell asleep and picked back up and kind of didn't know where I was at, but it kind of didn't matter, Like, And to be fair, like I fell asleep through the first one, and I tried watching it again last night and fell asleep again. But the part that always gets me is when they go inside the briefcase in the first one, and they're inside the world. I'm like, oh, this is cool, and then I don't know. After that, it just kind of
doesn't look great though. The effects aren't that great.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I'm squinting already, so it's like, oh, like my eyes are only getting tighter. But I mean, the second one held my attention for a lot longer, I'd say, and I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Again, like not seeing the first one, I didn't really fully understand what was like going on, but it was. For what I was watching, it seemed pretty good.
I'll credit my lovely girlfriend for this one, because she said this after we got out of the movie. She said the reason why she likes Harry Potter so much, the Harry Potter movies and the books, is that there are dark elements to it, but it still has this like fluffy kid feeling to it, because the main characters are kids, whereas like Fantastic Beasts, you're following the adults, and they're tackling a lot darker themes, because you don't really have that sort of kid perspective as you do in the original in the Harry Potter series. So she doesn't really care for that aspect. Like there's some dark shit that like there's some auras in here that just straight up kill people without any like nope, that's it. You're just gonna that's how we're gonna do it. They don't even say Avada Kedavra. They just whip the wand and they kill him. Yeah. So it's like there's certain things like that she has issues with. Like I think keep the kid aspect of it. There's definitely fun moments in it, especially like towards the end when like the big climax is happening and a certain character shifts and you're like, whoa, did not expect it. I liked it because it's a nice change in pace, but she didn't care for it because there was a nice relationship between two people, and so
there was a little I know what you're talking about, and I think that was one of the negative parts of the movie. I would say you're talking about the relationship between Jacob and what's her face?
What is her name?
Queenie.
There you go. Yeah,
Queenie.
Like they had such
that
great.
Was bizarre,
especially
was after the first movie, because the first movie you're like, I love this couple. Yeah. They're like, I like shipped them after 2 seconds, and in this one it's like she's putting spells on him and charms.
See,
and then
I
she's
like that. I like that.
But then she was like, oh, I'm gonna go with this guy who hates Muggles.
Yeah,
and I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, he says he doesn't hate them. He doesn't want to kill them.
He doesn't want to kill them, but he still hates them.
Yeah, like Dan Fogel's character Jacob, he would have burned up in that blue flame if he walked through it.
That was bizarre to me, because I was like, if you're all about love and you want to love this Muggle and you feel like people aren't progressive enough. She literally says the word progressive in this movie. And then she goes with the freaking like Nazi guy.
Well, she's crazy. I mean, I don't think there's any like other explanation. She's just insane. Like, I think anybody who puts a spell on somebody and make you fall in love, you're criminally insane.
So you say when she like reads Jacob's mind and he says you're crazy.
Yes,
that's like an actual thing that they're gonna dive into in the other.
She's actually crazy. He's right. I don't know why. Like, but that's what. So for me, that whole shift kind of felt right to me. What didn't feel right to me was the whole thing with Zoe Kravitz and
Lestrange thing.
Yeah.
The baby switching.
Yeah, that felt like.
Is that where everyone's saying it's like they're retconning shit with the Lestrange? I didn't look too deep into it.
I don't know.
Because I know Lestrange obviously from Bellatrix,
right.
But also Bellatrix and Sirius Black. I know they're related. I know that whole family tree is all fucking
crazy.
I
mean, the Lestrange, the other Lestrange married Malfoy. Lucius Malfoy.
Yes.
So
Lucius.
Yeah, Lucius.
Yeah. Well, I I didn't care for that storyline. I also didn't care for like the way they kind of just like bleached out like a lot of like Zoe Kravitz's skin for a lot of it. Like,
oh, you think they made her lighter?
Oh no, they didn't make her lighter. It was just the way everything was shot. Just like it was all bleached out and washed out. Yeah, and I was like, oh man, y'all could have. I wish there was a little more pop, a little more color to it. You know?
Oh, I see what you're saying. I kind of agree with that too. I also feel like, well, that's like a side thing, but I didn't love the Johnny Depp makeup either. I thought that was a little
with
much.
like the eye and
stuff. I mean, it was just a little.
I just didn't.
much.
Well, even when we saw him at Comic-Con, I was like, yo, is this really what we're gonna watch a whole movie about? And seeing it on screen is like, yeah, this isn't much better. But I don't know.
You know what I did like? Jude Law as Albus Dumbledore.
Yo, I liked him. I dug him. Yeah, hot Dumbledore. Yeah, I was on board for Dumbledore.
The way they hyped him up, though, I was like, this is cool. It's like, I mean, I guess I'm going to relate everything to Star Wars just because I love Star Wars, but it's like hyping up like a great Jedi. You're like, yo, this Jedi is in his prime.
Well, also, he's portraying Dumbledore from the Harry Potter series, which I think so the second Dumbledore, because obviously the guy who played Dumbledore, the first what's his name, Richard.
I don't know his last name.
I don't remember his real name, but he obviously passed away after doing the first two movies. Which hot take, not hot take. Maybe most people feel about this. The first Dumbledore actually gets him a lot more right than the second Dumbledore does.
Oh right.
If I'm gonna be the book kind of guy, because Dumbledore, that's the one thing that I've always taken away from the books is that Dumbledore has always been like how he is in those first two movies. He's like, he's kind of like not like flamboyant, but he has like this certain like he doesn't have a sternness to him.
Irreverent kind of.
Yeah,
irreverence to him.
Like when the new guy plays him, he's kind of a dick at some points. Like I always go to the scene in Goblet of Fire where he's like, "Did you put your name in?" Like he didn't do that in the book. He's just like, "Yo, did you do this? Like, how'd you do that?" You know, like, and there's like a certain way to him, and I felt like Jude Law does that well of the second Dumbledore, and I thought it was good. So
I like the.
Gotta find out his name. Sorry.
I don't know, man. I think Dumbledore is great because he's not like the pure, holy, righteous wizard. He's much more of like a politician. And I think that's kind of why I like Dumbledore. Yeah. Because he sees certain things and he's able to like move and manipulate certain things.
He's able to outsmart everybody. Yeah. And that's why my second favorite, not my second. Well, one of my, I guess it would be my second favorite, Half-Blood Prince, when he dies at the end.
So good.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought that was like it was sad seeing him go, but it was also like fuck, like he really like played, like he really like set the whole plan in motion.
Part of the plan.
Yeah. So I was
put your wands up in the air. Put your wands up in the air. For Dumbledore. Yeah, man. I mean, I just like the setting of the stage that Jude Law provided for Albus, of making him like a tricky kind of like a talent scout kind of guy, where he's like, yo, Newt has got a lot of talent. I'm gonna nurture this guy.
Richard Harris, by the way.
Richard Harris. There you go. But he's kind of like a talent scout, right? Where he sees talent inside a kid, and he's like, "Yo, this kid's clutch. I'm gonna help this guy out, and then I'm gonna wash my hands from it because I'm Albus Dumbledore, and this is what I do." He's a politician.
That's why he has Harry stay with the Dursleys so much, even though they're pieces of shit. He fears the day that Voldemort comes back, and he wants to be away from all of that. So he's trying to protect him. So he's thinking so many steps ahead, and he's waiting for the inevitable, even like to his end. Like he knows he's going to die, so he has the one person he trusts the most, who we think is a piece of shit, Snape. But it turns out it's not the case.
Yeah. No, I just like shit. I just like what the interaction between him and Newt in that.
That was fun. That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
The scene when they first talked to with the glove and all that. I was like, this is great.
Of course, the glove. Like that was great. It's beautiful.
It's great. The card that comes out.
Yeah.
Super freaking cool.
So we all didn't hate Grindelwald then?
I didn't hate it. No.
The movie or the character?
Or the movie.
I didn't hate it, man. I thought the third act was a little, the whole fire blue dragon was a little like, just a little kind of lame.
You need like a big climactic action scene.
It was a little.
I will say I saw it in IMAX, yo.
Looked pretty
beautiful.
Dope.
Really?
Okay. Beautiful. Yeah.
What'd you think of the? I know we touched on it, but I kind of want to finish it out because of the whole twist / thing about the whole. Let's finish out the Lestrange aspect of it. What'd you think of the whole Zoe Kravitz Lestrange origin story and then finale, because she didn't make it?
I didn't care enough to like.
Really?
You didn't get enough. I didn't get enough from her.
I was
to really
liking
care.
her, and then I was like, oh, they set all that up just to kind of.
Well,
set up Theseus and Newt, I guess.
Well, see, I didn't even know. Like, they showed the picture at the beginning of the film, like they're gonna get married or whatever. And okay, I guess she's supposed to survive based on this future thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was kind of confused because, like you said, I guess that is the Lestrange, like Bellatrix Lestrange is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it really?
Yeah,
because the whole time I was like, okay, that sounds familiar, but I don't want to
If you think about it though, her dad is the Lestrange.
He's kind of like sleeping around
He
with
is,
different
so he's got,
people.
like-
And
It's not
that
like-
was weird too.
It was a little weird.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're the kid of the other mother's.
No,
yeah, like
you're
what
talking
the
about
fuck?
the rapey aspect
Yes.
of it. It's
Yeah.
actual rape.
He's straight up raping people,
Yeah.
like putting spells on them.
If you put a spell on someone to sleep with you, that's rape.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
it was
definitely.
weird. I will
Yeah.
say the one part that I did like, it's really dark, but is when she tells Newt's brother, or well, she's
Theseus.
looking at him and she
Yeah.
says, "I love you" before stepping in the fire.
Yeah.
But it cuts to both of them, and
Yeah.
you don't know who she says it to.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, that's pretty
That's
good.
good.
That's really cool.
That was pretty
that's
good.
really,
Yeah.
really dark and cool. But again, like if she was set up in the first movie, maybe. But I don't know. I feel like I didn't get enough.
It was just
Yeah.
strange that she just pops in. Lestrange. Very Lestrange that she just pops in and exits. I also thought the whole thing with her brother made no sense.
The credence aspect of this movie was a little wonky. I can't lie.
Yeah, and
Even like what he turns out to be, I'm like, okay, wait a minute.
I was like, oh,
Maybe that's where the
cool.
retconning is. I don't know. Like Dumbledore's got another brother or a cousin or some shit. Because I was
Yeah.
thinking like, wait, is he gonna be Aberforth? But that doesn't make sense because they talked about because Dumbledore has a brother Aberforth and then he has a sister named Ariana.
Yeah, that's
and,
well, then that's the whole thing that was at the end, right? With
No, but that wasn't.
no, yeah,
that
because
wasn't
he
him.
told the story of how the three of them like kind of. The three of them and Grindelwald got into like an altercation and it ended in Ariana's death, his sister's death. So,
Yeah.
and then that's why Aberforth and Gryffindor, Albus don't talk to each other, some shit like that.
Okay.
Something like that. But so I didn't know what was like going
That
on.
was weird.
Aurelius Dumbledore is his name, which I was like, they're setting up. It's like a fox. The fox. The what do you call it? The bird. What's the bird?
The phoenix.
The phoenix. There you go. Fox.
Yeah.
That's the other one.
Yeah.
But a phoenix goes to any Dumbledore
Yeah.
in need, and then a
Well,
phoenix
Fox
comes
is his
flying.
name, right?
Yeah, but I don't think that's Fox.
You don't think that's Fox?
No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
Yeah,
Fox
it
is
was a
dope.
little odd. I mean, overall, I did enjoy the movie. I think I mainly enjoyed it because of like Tina Goldstein and Newt Scamander.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole and Albus Dumbledore was cool.
Right.
Grindelwald was a little weird. The Lestrange stuff was a little weird.
Yeah.
But overall, it's still a fun wizard.
Yeah, I mean,
world
it's just,
movie.
I mean, it's a spectacle.
Yeah. I had fun, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people like were relating it like this is the Star Wars prequels, and like I think even that's a low. Like Cody brought up, like it's more so like the Hobbit prequels. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, because at least they're like not.
I was
they're
gonna
not-
say I like these more than The Hobbit, man.
Oh
That's
yeah,
just me.
yeah, for sure. I can't stand the Hobbit movies, but
I definitely like the first Hobbit more than the first one of this. That's just me. But then I also think. Actually, I never even saw the third Hobbit movie, so I
don't
can't really
see
have
it.
I can't have
Oh,
an opinion
man.
on the franchise.
That movie gave me a headache.
I did like the second Hobbit one though. The
Yeah, that
Destination
was
of
dope.
Smog.
Yeah, that
one
was cool.
dope.
That was
one
pretty
dope.
cool.
But
But
I like
Luke
this one
Evans?
more than the first one too. Huh?
With Luke Evans, right?
Yeah. With the arrows and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think overall, man. Let's talk about the Fantastic Beasts franchise right now and where it's at, because I think overall, I can't lie, man. I think I just rewatching these Harry Potter movies, Harry Potter in general. I think I like these more than Lord of the Rings, man. There's my hot take for the day.
Oh,
Yeah.
See,
I don't know.
I'm not
think
a
they're more
huge.
fun than Lord of the Rings.
I'm not a. Oh well, yeah. I will say that. I think they're a lot more fun.
I think Harry is a much more compelling character than Frodo. That's.
Oh, are you talking about Harry? Are you talking about
I'm
the
talking
Harry?
about Harry Potter versus Lord of the Rings.
Oh, you said Fantastic Beasts franchise.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
That's my
okay.
bad.
No, I would agree with you. Yeah,
Yeah.
because Lord of the Rings never stuck with me.
Yeah,
I think
me neither.
they're obviously well made.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to sit through them. I would rather sit through all 8 of these movies.
Sure.
And then maybe once in a while, maybe Fantastic Beasts. But I think there's something about you keep bringing up Star Wars, and there's really no other franchise out there that has been inserted into pop culture like Star Wars and the Harry Potter world.
Agreed.
Because definitely Lord of the Rings has built a world, but when you expand it and there's parks after it, there's like there's that just pop culture element to it that feels like I would want to live in the wizarding world.
Yep.
I would not want to live in Middle Earth.
Don't you think if there was a more of a push for the commercialization of like
sure.
Middle Earth,
Well,
it would probably
I don't know though,
more
because
of a staple?
I just came back from the Wizarding World of Universal Studios.
Yeah.
And I 100% agree with you because I see that charm, that transportation that Harry Potter has, that it can put you inside this world and make you feel like you're a part of it. And it has houses, just like Jedis have different colors of lightsabers.
Yeah.
You get to pick your own wand, and the wand is like having your own
It's your
lightsaber.
personal thing.
Like
Yeah.
everything is personalized, and it's for you, and it's for your personality, it's for your vibe. It's just, you can wear all black, you cannot wear all black, you can be a pro this, pro that, anti this. Like, I think that world is just so much more interactive than Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Well, don't you? Well, no, I could counter to that very easily and say, like,
elves?
don't you think
elves are cool, and that's kind of it.
Well, no, I'm not saying like what's cooler. Now, I'm just saying like, don't you think that the fact that the fact that Star Wars is simple and Harry Potter is simple, that it's wands and it's red and blue and it's like houses, that is more, they purposely make it that way to make it more accessible to children. So do you think that because it has an easier window and easier connection to people, that it is more accessible,
You're
that
saying
you like
because,
it more?
because it's catered halfway through to children, like 50-50, half children, half adults?
Well, I mean, I'd say the first two are like completely towards children.
You're right.
I'd say,
Yeah.
And then
You're saying because it caters more towards children, it's a more mainstream property?
Well, no, I'm saying like the fact that it has like iconic like iconographies, like a wand, like a house, like a
Colors.
like scarves, like shit
the
like that.
robes
But
they wear.
Yeah, but then because it has all these objects, and because these objects are made to appeal to children, do you think that just gives it an easier window for a lot of people? Because for something like Lord of the Rings, there's not like a lot of like commercialization. You can make a lot. There's not a lot of iconic, like you maybe have the pipe, from like Gandalf and the Hat, but there's not like, or the ring too, but there's not like a lot of iconic, images that you could take out of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and also keep in mind when she wrote the book, she probably didn't have. She was like J.K. Rowling was just like a nerdy little kid with her stories.
Yeah,
didn't think it was going to go anywhere, and then when it finally like launched off, it's like whoa. And I think that commercial success came from the very first movie, and when they saw that this movie did really well, then that's when like okay, we've got something on our hands. And I'll even go as far as saying this. You want a hot take? I think the Harry Potter franchise and the series in that world slightly, I don't want to say better. But more interactive, more welcoming, and to a certain extent, a little bit better than the Star Wars franchise.
Movies?
Movies,
I'll say
everything.
I'll say definitely say movies.
Because
I'll say
here's the thing.
8 movies of Harry Potter.
Here's the thing. With the Star Wars movies, George Lucas didn't know what he had either. But also, when that whole series, like the whole first movie of Star Wars was saved in editing because the shoot was a disaster. Yeah. Everything was just a mess.
Lucas's
cobbled
wife.
together and edited the whole thing together and made it what it is. And then the second one came along, the third one came along. It was just those like stories. Now, yeah, he had stuff planned for later on, but those became like farces eventually. Like those became movies just to sell toys.
Sure.
Whereas Harry Potter, I felt like because there was one person behind it the entire time, J.K. Rowling.
It got better and better.
It got better and better because
did.
she is the one that created this all the way through from beginning to end. She had like there was no plan with Star Wars as far as like we're gonna go. Maybe there was the 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, and 3. There's like that plan.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna say that's all Lucas though. Like that's all Lucas.
That's all Lucas?
Yeah.
But how much of it was actually planned? Like you look at the script and the script for Phantom Menace, he wrote that and he's just like, there's a lot of they fight here.
All right.
J.K. Rowling wrote every single one of those books. Those are all her. Yes, they were adapted to the screenplay and whatnot, but she knew where she was going. She knew where she started and she knew exactly where she was going, and she ended it. I mean, now she's bringing it back a little bit, but still, like there was like a sought out plan for it. And I think that's where, like, you look at the Harry Potter franchise, you can look at all those movies. Those are all really good, competent movies. Yeah, you may not like one of them. One of them may be not as good as the other, but there's no like embarrassing. Like when I was rewatching Chamber of Secrets, my girlfriend, I was like, there's no like Jar Jar Binks in this entire franchise. There's not like that one character, maybe like Dobby to a certain extent. But
we like Dobby.
I mean, it's a bit. See, people like Dobby. Like, there's not that one character. Like, fuck this fucking character. Who's the character in The Hobbit with the shit on his face?
Oh, I know you're talking.
Remember
about.
that guy
Yeah,
with the rabbits and shit?
He was
like,
annoying.
Like that was annoying as hell. There's not like that one element or. even like Harry Potter fans, they're like not near. As far as I know, this whole episode can change my mind. I can see comments right now about Harry Potter fans being crazy.
We average like 5 comments an episode.
Well, maybe the Harry Potter fans will come out, but like I've never seen that. Like, there's so much toxicity with Star Wars fans because that is such a precious franchise to them. But also, I think you forget the fact that this franchise in general, just Harry Potter, is so much more vast, and there's so much more to take in. There's so many more important elements being played throughout, and not to say that that's not with Star Wars, but I don't know. I think something with, and this is me being a huge Star Wars fan too. I do like Star Wars probably a little bit better than Harry Potter, but I don't know. There's sometimes I go back and forth. Like, maybe I want to be more of a Harry Potter fan than I want to do Star Wars. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think what's fascinating is that in comparing Lord of the Rings versus Harry Potter versus Star Wars, I think it should be noted that at least Harry Potter had 8 full movies to like tell the story, right? As opposed to, I mean, Star Wars is really, it's 6 movies, but it's really 3. You know what I mean? Like, it's really one story in 3, one story in another 3, one story with the Lord of the Rings in 3, one story in another 3. So it's really like 3 movies versus 8 movies to a certain extent, which Harry Potter had that opportunity to really spread out the storytelling and make it, it's almost more of a TV show, like almost, or a miniseries than like an actual film. I mean, it is a film franchise, but it's, whereas I feel like...
It's more episodic.
Yeah, it's episodic, but it's serialized. Like, every single movie has its own individual plot and its own individual storyline and theme and message.
With that one through line.
With the one through line, exactly. Whereas Lord of the Rings is 3 movies or 3-hour movies that are just one story, or same thing with Star Wars to a certain extent.
Well, even the original Star Wars, because he intended it to be a serial, each one of those movies feels like a serial because they do connect, and obviously Empire ends the one that you're like, whoa, I got to see the next one. But still, they're like similar to Indiana Jones. They have their own separate adventures with that one through line. But now it's like, now that we've like been so embraced with this, like everything has to be connected. We have canon. We have to do all these things. Now everything has to connect with each other. So like our expectations for those things are so high. So when Snoke gets killed off, you're like, oh, well, who was he? And people get disappointed by it. But it's like none of that shit fucking matters. Like, you pay attention to the story.
You know what it is too, and this isn't where I thought the conversation was headed, but who cares? It's J.K. Rowling, man. It's J.K. Rowling, and it's the franchise that she created. Yeah. And it's the purpose in the world of Harry Potter. That, to me, is the biggest difference between the Harry Potter fans and the Star Wars fans.
Well, yeah.
Because the truth is, a woman made this, and she made it very anti-racism, anti-bigotry, anti-nationalism, and she's very vocal about it. Yeah, she was very vocal about it before the Twitter stuff. I'm talking about like when she wrote the books. Yeah. Like when she wrote the book, she was talking about, giving women more opportunities and giving these people more opportunities and being anti-bigotry and anti-racism. And I think that aspect of Harry Potter is so on the nose to the point that I don't think any fan can deny it. Whereas Star Wars fans, it comes from this. We talked about Star Wars for like 3 hours last time when we had our episode on Star Wars, and we talked about how Star Wars is the same thing, man. Like George Lucas is very anti-Nazi, and he's very progressive, and he's talking about a lot of things that a lot of Star Wars fans probably don't agree with, and the irony that they identify as like, oh, it's gonna be this, and the irony that the creator didn't intend for that to be, right? But he's not quite as on the nose as I feel J.K. Rowling is.
But even J.K. Rowling's like writing and the storytelling, and even with these movies, it's like, it's clear what she's telling, but it's also not in your face. It's not like shoving.
She's sugarcoating the pill. She's definitely sugarcoating.
Yeah, it's like it's subtle enough, and it's the right amount of storytelling. Because that's the one thing that always drives me. It's like the Neil Blomkamp, like, we get it. Like, as much as I like Elysium, it's like, we got a segregation. But that's one of the things that I take away from it. Whereas, like, I think a lot of people don't think about that when they see Star Wars. They see a lightsaber go up and like, oh, cool, fight each other, But so they forget about the Nazi shit. They forget about like the neo-Nazi shit with the new ones and stuff. So
yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I just feel like Harry Potter has the clear reason for Voldemort's, and I'm talking about Harry Potter now, Voldemort, even Grindelwald's purpose of being evil is the fact that he hates other people that are different than him.
Yes.
He feels superior to other people, superior to like this is all very clear. The fact that he calls them mudbloods, the fact that
They don't. Hey, easy, dude. The fuck? You don't know who's watching this?
but the fact that he's like,
You can't say that word.
It's very like it's clearly
Yeah.
like defining what this is. It's like this 1960s civil rights movement for unity and peace against other people, and it's very clearly defined as this like Nazi type villain. That's what Voldemort is. He wants magic people to rule, and he sees other Muggles as like less than him. All that stuff is very clearly a metaphor towards classism and racism and all that.
Well, I think for me, the racism is a little less.
I think the
obvious.
racism is the biggest
I think,
part.
to me, I interpret
because
that
they
more,
talk about the mixture of the two, which is clearly an analysis of.
Well,
like,
yeah. I mean, I think it's
the
not.
mixture
I don't think
of
it's
of the race.
Well, I don't
whatever.
think it's racist in the sense of like. I don't think it's racist in the sense of like American racism. I think it's more of a religious zealous kind of thing. It's more of like a Jewish versus Catholicism kind of thing. That's why I think the whole Nazi thing is I think that's why the whole Voldemort being a Nazi, like not mixing pure blood, Aryan race versus Jewish people. I think that's where it comes from more of, and I think it's also I think the religious imagery comes, for me at least in the production design, right? It's very Catholicism based, very like Gothic thing, and that's always been a big issue, especially in early London and early England. The whole fight against the church of the Catholic Church versus the people, and how the Catholic Church kind of reigned over in superiority over its people, and how that overthrow kind of had to happen. So I mean, I see that, and I think that's why a lot of religious folks are kind of like semi-triggered by it, because the whole idea of witchcraft is the antithesis of religion. But this movie, this franchise and this series kind of uses that to kind of tell a story. But I mean, I think it's a little bit of race, but I think to me, I read it more as a religious thing. Also, they don't really have a lot of people in color in the movie, so I don't. It's a little harder for me to make the concrete thing of like this is about race.
I insist that it is, especially after watching the movies. I mean, Hermione is supposed to represent that the most. I mean, even
both
when she's
her parents are Muggles.
Yeah, and when she goes to the Ministry of Magic and she sees the statue that has like the people, the slaves building the freaking structure, and it's like built on top of slaves, and the Muggles are in their rightful place or something like that. It's very clearly talking about like slavery and oppression and bigotry and all this type of attitude towards other people who they feel superior over because they have magic, and that makes them superior.
Even with like Fantastic Beasts, like with marriage rights and whatnot, that's a
Fantastic
huge
Beasts.
one.
I was going to get to it later, but let's say it now.
Muggles and people that are magic can't marry each
Fantastic
other.
Beasts is very much especially rewatching it, what I got from Fantastic Beasts is very much. I don't know if you're going to agree with me or not, or you. Very much like pro-LGBT rights.
Yeah.
It's the idea of the obscurist being... literally, they define obscurist as like magic, you're too... closeted magic. You're too oppressed and ashamed to show who you really are.
Right.
And I was like, you're pretty on the nose with that, J.K.
Even
Rowling.
with Nagini, too. Nagini is like another example of that,
It's
too.
so on the nose, and I'm like, okay, she's talking about when children are afraid and they oppress their magic, and they close off their magic, and they make it like away from the people because they fear persecution. I was like, that's clearly like LGBT people who are too afraid of super religious people to judgment and persecute them.
Whereas like with the Harry Potter franchise, like the anti-bigotry and the anti-racism, this one she was going for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I felt. I don't know if you got the same from Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, I got a little bit of that. I still think that I think some of the subtext to it is outside of just it being an LGBTQ. Of course, the environmentalism is a big part of.
That's a good point.
The animal rights
big
too.
part of
Yeah.
part of the Fantastic Beast. But for me, the biggest reading I got out of it was maybe that's what's influencing my Harry Potter like kind of thoughts of like religion. But to me, the whole religious stuff in Fantastic Beasts became super obvious to me because it was like the whole fight versus like nature versus belief, right? Like how for a lot of history, religion has been actively against science and against protecting animals and against protecting wildlife.
Yeah.
But whereas New Scamander is somebody who's on the outside trying to get that in. But I mean, I definitely, now that you're making those points, I definitely see a lot more of the LGBTQ connection.
Yeah.
I got it right away,
too.
man. I mean, for me, that's what hit. I was like, oh, you're talking about magic that you hide away from the world because you're too ashamed and you keep it closeted. I was like, you clearly making that as a point.
But then see, that's also what fuels a little bit of my relation of Jewish culture with the idea of Harry Potter and the idea of being the same on the outside but being just slightly different on the inside. And that's kind of something that a lot of Jewish people have to face, especially in Europe, especially during, when is Harry Potter actually set, by the way? Set in the 90s?
Yeah.
And so it probably wasn't that big of a problem back then, but there's still an overwhelming thing that kind of lured over the European nation, I think, at least. And that's for me, when people say that X-Men is about Malcolm X versus Martin Luther King, I've kind of always semi-rejected that as to saying it's more about the Jewish struggle of being white on the outside, same as everybody else, but still being oppressed for who you are on the inside. And so, I mean, that's just how I take it. But but for what Harry Potter is overall trying to say, it is anti-discrimination overall.
It is.
And I think that's the unifying, no matter how we interpret it through religion or through race.
And I think that's very much clear. That's the clearer message than, in my opinion, any fantasy movie, including Lord of the Rings, including Star Wars.
Yeah,
I think that the Harry Potter message of anti-discrimination, anti-bigotry is bigger than the Star Wars message. It's bigger than the Lord of the Rings message, which is why my original point of the Harry Potter fandom, for the most part, people that I've met are very much the whole point of Harry Potter is to embrace your weird, embrace your weirdness, embrace your quirkiness. And if you're a weirdo, who gives a crap? Luna Lovegood doesn't care that she's a complete weirdo.
Yeah, I love her.
Harry, exactly. I love her because she's a freaking weirdo.
It's also pretty meta that she was an Uber fan and then she got that gig. And she wasn't even an actress. She's just a huge fan, and she got the role.
Yeah,
and then she plays the quirkiest character, out there.
And it's the whole purpose of Harry Potter is to have fun with your own identity. I guess is what it is, and it's embrace your identity, embrace who you are. Embrace if you're a book nerd like Hermione, or if you feel a little bit lack of confidence like Ron, or all this kind of stuff is about being who you are and being confident in who you are. And that's the biggest message in Harry Potter, and which is why it's geared towards children, because that's the biggest message that J.K. Rowling wants to say to these kids.
Yeah, it's also just incredible storytelling, too.
It really is.
Because
it's 100%.
you start to read these books, I think it's third or fourth grade level or something, maybe even younger. I was somewhere in elementary school.
I mean, it's supposed to be Harry Potter's age.
Yeah, so you read this book when you're a kid, and you see one thing, and then you revisit it later, and then you start to pick up on those messages, and it's just a nice a nice way to realize, if you grow up or if you grew up with these books and then you reread them again and you start to realize it just makes the reread even better.
Yeah.
Which is it's just great. I highly recommend you guys. You read the books, man.
I know.
Read those.
Yeah, I gotta read those books.
I've been starting with the audiobooks, and they're
really easy to read.
They're pretty fun.
Really easy to read.
Let's get into a little bit of the films. We'll dabble with a few of them, probably talk about a few of them a little bit more than others, but let's start out with the first one, man. 2001, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
If you're nasty.
If you're a British person.
Yes.
What do you guys think of this first one? Starting out with the original Dumbledore, R.I.P.
R.I.P. Richard Harris. That was his name. I don't remember. I already forgot.
I think it was Richard Harris.
Yes.
Chris Columbus directed. John Williams, wonderful score. It's amazing.
That theme is great, man.
It's so freaking iconic.
So good.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I think it's a strong. I mean, look, you look back on it now, and it's obviously very kid friendly. The first two are kid friendly. You're going to get that with Chris Columbus, which, by the way, who also directed Home Alone. There's a part in the score where it sounds just like freaking Home Alone.
Really?
Oh yeah. A lot of John Williams, a lot of composers reuse a lot of their own stuff and they tweak it just barely. So I hear a lot of Home Alone and Harry Potter in the same. But it's a perfect introduction to everything, especially when you have your main character that knows none of this stuff. You use him as the catalyst to introduce all of these different aspects of this world without feeling too like, okay, what's this? Like it doesn't beat you over the head because you're constantly learning, but it's not overwhelming. It's pretty straightforward. It's a wizarding world. There's some weird things about it, and eventually you just like accept them for what they are.
And it's more about the relationship too of how Harry Potter feels as like an orphan, right?
Yeah.
Living with a family that he doesn't feel is his own, feeling neglected, living in the basement. That kind of stuff is really what stands out the most to me in this movie. And then going to Hogwarts where he's able to have fun, live his life, learn all these spells, and be like the special kid that he always thought he could be. Yeah. And it's very like you said, super kid friendly, super positive message.
But it's still got that dark angle because when they have the feast. And Dumbledore's announcing to like the new kids, it's like, and by the way, don't go into the freaking Forbidden Forest or you will die. So I like that they're treating this fantasy, fun, friendly world, whereas like, but there are consequences. There are very dark even when you go into Chamber of Secrets, like kids are being petrified. And you're like petrified, like literally petrified. You're frozen in place. And that's only because they're seeing reflections of something. And otherwise, if they look straight into his eyes, they would have died. And so I like that. I like that they kind of tease the death. And then obviously when Voldemort is introduced is when kind of shit. It's like every movie starting from 4 on, it's like, oh, there's the death. There's the one death that we got to hit on in every film.
It has that fun vibe of like having that little, not horror, but having that creepy element.
Yeah.
Like the kind of like the Disney Channel original movies. I didn't want to say it, but like Disney Channel original movies because they're so good at like giving you these little kid stuff and then scaring you for little moments.
Yeah.
And being like, that's creepy. Oh, that's scary. But it's still a fun kids movie. And you still enjoy it. Professor Lockhart, man, he's a freaking weird dude. He's
Kenneth Branagh.
Kenneth Branagh, man. Kenneth freaking Branagh. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. He's perfect.
He's this movie is Chamber of Secrets is very much still very kid friendly and very quirky.
I think that's the one that people like the least.
I think so.
Out of all of them.
I think so.
I rewatched that one last night. The Basilisk looks great.
I still love the way
really
Snape does his first Expelliarmus.
Yeah.
The way he does it is so
Snape's
good.
Great through line.
He's great.
He's actually in the book a lot nastier than in the movies. Yeah. He's pretty rough in the movies, but he's like the way she goes about describing him and his certain looks that he has, because he's just got like an uglier look about him, and like in R.I.P. Oh my God, I'm blanking on names. Snape. Huh? No. Fucking Snape.
I know you're talking about one of the greatest actors.
Oh my God. How am I blanking?
I'm blanking too, so I can't give you that much crap. What's his name?
Alan Rickman. Thank you.
Alan Rickman.
Took me a second.
Alan Rickman. There we go.
Alan Rickman is just like, he's got a certain look to him, but in the book, like he's just like snarling. He's got like a crooked nose and like he's just a lot more like snaky, sneevling, and maybe it's just like if you listen to the audiobook, he does like a certain voice that you're just like, ugh, fuck you, Snape. But there are certain elements in Chamber of Secrets that I really do like. One of which being the Quidditch scene is great in that one too, just like the first one. The Basilisk is also really great. Dobby is obviously an introduction, which, by the way, another difference. The elves are all throughout all the book series, because they explain that in the book, I don't know which book it is, but they explain that the elves are the ones that are cooking all the meals and doing all the dirty work at Hogwarts, but they're treated kind of fairly. And Hermione actually like gets on board. This also goes to a lot of the themes that we were talking about earlier. Hermione gets on board with like trying to free house elves because they're like mistreated all the time, and she's always for like house elves' rights and whatnot, and eventually like it leads somewhere. And actually Dobby appears in most of the books all throughout and isn't just in Chamber of Secrets and then pops in Deathly Hallows. Like he's an actual character that pops up here and there, but we only see him like twice in the movies.
So for me the house elves were like the clearest like racial analogy for me in terms of like the movies, and I thought the way they handled that was interesting. I also gotta say, dude, I finally took the Pottermore test. I sat here and made an entire account and shit.
What house are you, man?
I've been named Gryffindor.
Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is that what this? Is that what I'm wearing right here?
Exactly
That
what you're
is,
wearing. Hey, shout out to Gryffindor.
Gryffindor. That's what's up.
Basically, like, how would you define the houses? The simple log line for each house.
Each house, it's
Yeah.
like if you're a Gryffindor, you're like
Brave, right?
Brave and honoring. Ravenclaw. I've always like taken the Ravenclaws as like the outcast punk kids, sort of, even though they're not really
The
touched on in
Hufflepuffs
them.
are the quirky ones.
Yeah,
Quirky,
the only
goofy.
character that I think there's a couple of characters that pop up from Hufflepuff, but the biggest one
Cedric?
being Cedric.
Yeah.
And then Slytherin are just kind of like
the clever,
the smart,
conniving.
like the dirty ones, you
Yeah.
know. But that's how it's like. It's because I'm forgetting the guy who started Slytherin, but Salazar Slytherin, like
you go.
he was the outcast. Like the more outcasts were like he wanted to rule over all the other ones, whereas the other three were like, no, let's just kind of combine our forces together and just be like a nice little unit. And
Yeah,
whatnot.
I think the first two movies, since we're finishing up on Chamber of Secrets, freaking Malfoy, man, that kid's a little brat.
He's a little brat.
He's a little brat, and it's the perfect character that's relatable to a lot of children reading these
Harry
books.
Potter. Every time it says Potter, 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 just yeah.
And the way he like
filthy little mudblood. Sorry, it's in the movie. I had to say it.
Oh, come on, man! You gave me heat
man.
crap for saying it.
I know.
Racial slurs, man.
But it's one of those things where it gives a perspective for these children reading the book, where
Yeah.
every kid is like, I know that kid.
Yeah.
Like you can relate that kind of characterization to each kid.
I will say, like, probably my least favorite, like, somewhat villain in Chamber of Secrets. It's just a memory of Voldemort stuck in Tom Riddle's diary, which eventually revealed to be a Horcrux, which is cool.
Yeah.
And not to skip over the first one real quick, but you know, Dumbledore possessing Professor Quill is pretty cool too, being on the back of his thing and whatnot. So it's like they're setting him up.
Voldemort.
What did I say?
You said Dumbledore.
Dumbledore, excuse me. Yeah, that would have been weird. Voldemort possessing Professor Quirrell. So, but yeah, the Tom Riddle diary stuff. I'm like, okay, he's a memory.
So everyone's favorite for the most part.
Before we move on to the third one. Before we move on to the third one.
Expelliarmus!
I was gonna say, I think the first two, do you have to get some credit for establishing
the world.
The world, but also it kind of put in a new style of filmmaking that's coined like magical realism, right? Like the idea of like of fantasy being placed in like a real life situation. That's something that hadn't been seen previously before the first two Harry Potter films.
It's set up that world. Like you see the first movie in like a lot of book adaptations today, and it's not practical. Like a lot of these were sets built. They took their time to build. Like I can't imagine being J.K. Rowling, having written all these things and then seeing it come to life. Like I would have been crying my ass off seeing Diagon Alley for the very first time, just like right there in front of you. You can touch it, you can feel it. Yeah, the CG, some of the things don't really hold up that well. This movie came out in '99, so it's like
2001.
2001? Mm-hmm. What? Sorcerer's Stone?
Yeah.
I thought Sorcerer's Stone was like 99.
No, 2001.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, fuck
I
me.
think the first book came out in 99,
Hey man,
right?
it's close.
97.
It's close to 99.
But yeah, magical.
You're right.
Yeah, you're
magical
right. 2001.
realism. Magical realism is the style that the first two kind of lived in, and then later became readapted for the later films. But I think when we're going to talk about the third one, fourth one, the fifth one, they kind of adapt a different style.
Yeah, and let's talk about it. Prisoner of Azkaban by Alfonso Cuarón.
Yes.
Seems to be most people's favorite Harry Potter movie. I think part of it is because of Cuarón. I think part of it is because
His
they
style.
started to get a
Artistry.
little bit more serious, and part of it too is like the camera movements are cool.
Yeah.
The editing is cool. Like the filmmaking of this movie stands out quite a bit more than the first two.
Yeah.
The first two are like a nice little duology, like a nice little setup, like part 1, part 2. 3 is like, all right, let's get somebody else. Ooh, we got a style. There's like a certain way. His storytelling and his way to maneuver certain aspects of that story is like in a different, it's just from a different voice. And that was like something that I think that's unique about this the entire franchise. But
And I think it started out making it scarier too.
Yeah. Oh no.
This
is
is where
color
it got
palette
like,
for it completely
really scary. Yeah.
Yeah. So it could, like it
The
starts
Dementors.
Up, yeah, the Dementors in general.
Yeah.
It's the Dementors. I always think of Michael Scott when he says the Dementors. Like the first two movies started going up because like, as far as like how the movie looks and feels, the tone and just the color scheme in general. It's light and fluffy. They're kids, but then it's like I don't know if they were 13 or 14. He's 12. No, he's 11 in the first one. 12, so 13. You're becoming a teenager. So it dips down into it gives the darkness a little bit of a kiss before the fourth one goes up a little bit and then goes right back down, dark and dark and dark, 5 and on. So I think it's a nice little touch of like, hey, by the way, as much as you love this series being fluffy and lighthearted, here's a little taste of what's to come. And Voldemort's not even in it. Like he's referenced obviously, but like he's like that's not the main villain. You're worried about one person the entire time, and it turns out not to be that case.
Yeah. No, Karan definitely brings his like mixture of. He definitely takes from like the magical realism that the first two kind of established, but then he also adds like his own like interpretation of like the French movement, right? The French New Wave of like the camera movement, right? The camera just free flowing, being its own thing.
The wonders.
There's
a few wonders here. I think there's like three or four wonders.
Oh, there's a lot. I mean, there's
my favorite is with didn't mean to cut you off, but when Harry's talking to Ron's father, and they're just having a conversation and they're just moving back and forth, and it's just so simple, but it's so cool. Like it's like you tell that more effort is being put into as opposed to just a 3-shot of a conversation happening. Yeah,
no, I mean that's the kind of director Cuarón is. He married his kind of I mean he incorporated a lot of what he took from like his Mexican filmmaking too, and particularly I mean we talked about in our Cuarón episode, Y Tu Mama Tambien is like very much like all long takes. It's like the entire movie is like long takes, and that's what he brings into the Harry Potter thing. So he kind of uses the French influence, his Mexican influence, expression, like the very like big, like gothic, like like expressive, like I feel like for out of all the Harry Potter movies, this one's definitely like the production design is the most like creepy, like Tim Burton-y, like very very German.
Yeah, Tim Burton-y, that's the word. That's definitely the word.
Especially to introduce the Dementors like that. Like you need like you can't if you put a Dementor in the Chris Columbus movies, the tones don't match each other.
I love the way they hype up Sirius Black too, because this is the series they hype him up so good, man. You're like, yo, I want to.
That's a badass name.
Gary
too.
Oldman, Sirius Black. Like
and
they hype him up as like, yo, this guy escaped Azkaban.
Also,
like, nobody's done that.
The thing that the fact that they set up Azkaban, which is great. When you watch Chamber of Secrets, they reference Prisoner of Azkaban. They have like little tiny things to hint at what's to come, or just further world building that I think is really nice. But also, when you realize that this is a time travel story, I'm just like. There's my bias. I love anything time travel.
I'm the same way, dude. Every time it's like they're like time travel. I'm like, yes,
dude.
You
incorporate a time turner.
I love it.
I love it. Like my girlfriend's reading The Cursed Child. She's never read it before.
Oh,
it's a time travel story.
It is a time travel story.
I got a lot of backlash though, right?
Yeah,
I got there was a great video I watched by this dude Austin McDolan or whatever. McDonald. I don't know what his name is.
Shout out to McDonald's.
But he has a great video about the Cursed Child, like about why I guess the controversy is big. But
either way, man, time travel. Every time they do it, and I can't lie. Are you caught up on? Damn, I don't want to spoil it. I kind of did already. On GOT.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
The fact that they introduced time travel in Game of Thrones, and I was like,
oh
shit,
yeah,
this is cool. And everyone was like, no, not time travel. And I was like, yeah, I love time travel, dude.
Oh yeah,
I love it.
Time travel's my shit.
Yeah, how do you think they handled the time travel in this movie? Before we move on to my final point for Prisoner of Azkaban.
I just love that. I love that the time travel. This is probably the first time travel movie that we see. The time travel is connected directly towards memories, right? And like how the whole spell is that you have to like. What was the spell called? The one with the deer that comes out.
The Patronus.
Yes. How that is like an expression of happiness, of like your happiest memory, right? And I like that this is one of the first time travel movies that actually explores like what a happy memory. Because most time travel movies are going back in time to fix something. Yeah. But this is the time travel movie that addresses a happy memory, fixing the problem. So I love the fact that it does that.
The whole setup for it too is great because the entire movie. You're like, where's Hermione? And then it cuts away and it cuts back and she answers a question. You're like, wait, what the fuck? How'd you do that? And it makes perfect sense.
And you almost feel like it's a side story, like it's a silly side. You're like, oh, that's Hermione likes learning more or something. But then you like realize like, oh, this is way deeper. Yeah. And it makes Hermione one of, if not the best character in the Harry Potter franchise. It builds her up because in the first one you're like, oh, it's a silly little girl, and then in the third one you're like, oh crap. Hermione's the GOAT.
She's given
She's
permission
the best one.
by the head of school to
Yep.
time travel to learn more.
Yeah.
Like that's dope. And there's that element of creepiness too. Is like,
Yeah.
no, this fucking these people are just gonna let her use a time traveling device. All right, cool.
Yeah.
It makes Hermione such a great character. It really does build her up so well.
And then sorry, real quick, and they do what I love, because I love Back to the Future too. They do where it's like you're going into an event already knowing what's gonna happen, but you're from an outside perspective.
Yeah.
So when you're seeing it the first
You're
time, they
seeing
hear a
yourself.
noise, and then it's them.
It's great.
I love it.
I love it,
I love that
man.
shit.
I'm gonna rewatch it when I get home, man.
Yeah, fixed timeline. Right. That's what it's all about.
Goblet of Fire is a fun one because it's the tournament.
Yeah.
The Triwizard Tournament, which is a lot of fun. And I'm a sucker for sports, so I'm a sucker for this type of stuff. And it's a lot,
Yeah.
having to fight a horntail dragon or something.
Yeah.
And having to do like the freaking water challenge, whatever they do. It's a lot, but at the same time, it's still pretty fun, man. And it gives a chance for freaking Robert Pattinson to do something.
Yeah,
Get out
he's
there.
not. He's actually in the books more than just the one movie. He pops up here and there. It's like, oh, Cedric Diggory. This.
I think
Cedric
he
Diggory
is
that.
an Azkaban, isn't he? Is he
Cedric
not?
Diggory.
Yeah, isn't he?
He's not. Oh,
Oh.
you're talking about the movie.
The character.
Mm-mm.
No? Okay.
He might
I
be.
not-
He
I
might have been
be wrong.
mentioned in the movie, but
Okay.
Pattinson's only in Goblet of
Got it,
Fire.
got it.
But in the books, like he pops up here and there.
Sure. You know
And-
what's cool? Oh, go ahead.
No,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. Yeah.
No, what's cool about this one too is the fact that it introduces, because the whole time, if I'm a first timer watching this, I'm like, it's just Hogwarts, and then they're like, no, France, and
Yeah.
this school and that school, and
That's
this
really cool,
crazy
too.
Austrian school, and then like all these schools coming together.
Yeah.
is what makes it so much more fun. I think that's another reason why I enjoyed Crimes of Grindelwald too. It's the fact that it's
Oh,
like
yeah, it's like
the
you're
French
seeing
Ministry of Max, the London, the New York, the
seeing the
China.
American, yeah.
It's cool. I think that's cool, man.
Yeah, it's further world building, and like when J.K. Rowling kind of announced the Pottermore, like the Harry Potter website, as like the first, because
RB3 was just on it.
he was
have
just
to
on a
sign
little
up for
backstory.
it.
Like when I did a trip to Florida to the Harry Potter land out there for
That's right, you
for
did,
like
dude.
a Harry Potter day, and I think that's when they were kind of announcing a lot of these things. And they're like, finally, people all around the world are going to have a Harry Potter school that they can relate to. There's one in China. There's one in other parts of Europe, not just in the UK. So like, and there was one in California. And so like they announced all these things, and it's like super cool. And I think we even saw like the first teaser for Fantastic Beasts before it went out, so that was pretty cool.
Oh shoot!
But
Nice.
that's where I kind of like fell in love with Harry Potter even more. So I'm like, fuck, this fucking shit. I gotta read these books more.
Yeah.
And so in reading Goblet of Fire, that one's a really fun read because I was always like, the fourth one was kind of my least favorites.
Movie?
Watching them when I was younger. I don't know why. I think because the third one had such a specific tone, they changed it up again for the fourth one. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I
It's a
just
little
wasn't
more
on the same
kid-friendly.
level,
Yeah.
maybe. But the setup and preparation in the book for Goblet of Fire makes the events more satisfying because like even the events, like they're very quick and not as like thorough as like the movies. The movies, obviously you got to make them like a big action scene and whatnot. But like the maze, there's sphinxes in the maze, and they have to solve these riddles and shit. And it's like, yo, this is cool. Whereas it's like, oh, I'm just gonna run around.
It's so cool, man.
Yeah,
That's
so there's like
freaking
there's like cool stuff like that, and Harry in the book trying to figure out how he's going to do the underwater stuff, and I think Neville's the one that actually helps him out. I don't remember how he didn't. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. Somebody helps him out how to figure out how to do all that stuff. But then again, it's all set up, and then the ending itself
Dude,
is
his freaking death, Cedric's death,
Yeah.
is incredible. Like you're like, oh damn, they did that. They just went there.
yeah.
It's really powerful.
That's the shift. That's the
Yeah,
that's the Empire
that's
Strikes
the
Back moment.
That's the start of the shift too, because they introduced those kind of spells. Because the whole time you're kind of wondering watching these movies, it's like, if I have all that power, can I just kill someone with like a word? The answer is yeah. You
Yeah,
can totally
could.
do that, and it's really
That's where they
bad.
introduced the 3 curses.
That's right.
4 curses, 3 curses. I don't know how many curses there are.
And from there, it goes into the start, I think, of the 4 films that really get into the dark stuff, which starts with the Order of the Phoenix.
Real quick before it, just a tiny little thing. They also introduce a little bit of romance in the 4th one as well.
Oh, that's right. Is this Cho Chang?
Yeah, this is where she pops up.
Oh
and,
my
yeah,
God,
and
man.
The, and the ball and the
This
dance. It's a very big pivotal thing
Oh,
because
that's
it's
right,
like they're
that's right.
setting him up. He's he's
God
feeling
dang,
emotions
bro.
for people
I
for the
was
first
rooting
time.
so hard for Harry the whole time. I'm like, come on, bro, shoot your shot, bro.
Oh yeah,
Shoot
go
your
for it, man.
shot, Harry.
I love the 6th one with the love portion.
We'll get there. Because I was going to say, I got a lot to say about that. Let's talk about Order of the Phoenix. Order of the Phoenix introduces my most hated character in Harry Potter.
Oh, no.
I want her dead. I want her dead! And that is what's her face? What's her name? I already forgot her name.
I was just talking about her yesterday because my girlfriend hates her too.
Oh my god, I want her dead. It's so bad.
Oh shit.
I would totally do that.
What is her name? Professor.
No. The homegirl in the pink.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh my god! I can't believe
I am not a true Harry Potter fan.
Well, I thought, isn't that when I saw Fantastic Beasts, I thought they kind of made reference to that lady at the beginning of the second one when that one lady in pink was standing in front of the building protesting the wizard shit.
Oh, it's Dolores Umbridge. Duh.
Dolores Umbridge.
I don't know if that's actual.
Oh my god!
Mm-hmm.
I wanted her dead so freaking bad. I wanted to like freaking. That's what I wanted to do to
freaking with the sound bites.
Either way, yeah. I mean, besides that, I mean, the whole movie. It's a little bit hard to watch for me. This movie, if I'm being honest, just because of her.
Oh, see, this is
so annoying.
This one's my favorite out of all of them.
Really, it's your favorite?
Mm-hmm. Because I
like it a lot. It's great, but it's just like. Oh, I just want to choke her.
No, I get that, but I think that's what makes her so good.
It's good.
I think that because especially when she pops up later,
she's like the most like the whole like conservative.
Oh, yeah.
Like prissy.
We all had that
proper.
Teacher. We all had a
but
teacher
at the
like
same
that.
time, she's so hypocritical.
Oh yeah,
and it's like it makes it so much worse because
you're
like
a power thing at some point.
Yeah, because you're like you can see through the bullshit, and you're like, oh, it makes you even worse.
Yeah.
I hate it.
See, like
it's great.
This one's my favorite because with all these movies, I like to try to reference them to outside things to help me enjoy it and like it. Like
what are your references to?
I reference this to like being an Avengers movie because you're learning about the Order of Phoenix, which is like this crew of wizards that band together to fight against evil. Like fuck, and then you see the photo, you're like, shit, that's them. Look at that team: Sirius Black, Dumbledore, the Potters, Neville's parents, like all these people that came together. And now Harry's starting his new Order of Phoenix with people and training them and teaching them to learn spells and everything. And the fact that he realizes that yes, he's the chosen one, but he's not fully owning that because they have that meeting with all the kids from Hogwarts after shit's kind of hitting the fan with Umbridge, and he's like, look, yeah, all these things you're naming off and all these things that I did were great, but I had help. I didn't do this shit alone. And I like that. It brings up the vulnerability of him and that he can't do it by himself, that he needs a team behind him. And I think that's one of the things that kind of brings me into it. I also love David Yates' style and look because he definitely, when he first did that movie, that was like the look of Harry. Like it was more moody than the rest of them. I think that it's like they just bump that saturation and bump it, and it just gets darker and darker.
Got that color temperature down.
Yeah,
and
that's Zack Snyder, bro.
Yeah, I know. And, well, I think that's funny because I think he harpens a little bit back towards the Quran vision of it.
Oh yeah, that's true. He was like, wait, hold, bring it back.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Yeah.
Don't go back to Columbus. Let's do this.
But I think it actually heightens the material because like you said, they're getting older. And this is a much darker time for them now.
Yes.
So,
that finale, though, man, that third act.
Dude.
With that duel,
that's
Dumbledore
Obi-Wan
versus
Vader,
versus
dude.
Voldemort.
It's fucking
I was like,
so
oh,
cool.
dang.
There's no music. It's the sound mix.
The sound effects.
Is so fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
when
seeing
it
him
goes
down.
into that water.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shit.
Because you're left with
Let's
this
go.
unsettling feeling from the fourth movie. And then when this one starts off, like all hell's broken loose. There's rumors. Of course, they're trying to deny the rumors. The Ministry of Magic is denying that Voldemort is back. That's why they sent Umbridge in there to make sure that the shit doesn't get out. Or at least they don't want people fearing that he's back because the Ministry of Magic doesn't want that on his hand. Like he doesn't want that on his conscience. Yeah. So you bring in all these different elements, and then when they after he's defeated, and when the Ministry of Magic walks in and sees Voldemort, and then he just disappears, they're like, "Oh shit, he is back."
Yep.
And it's just so.
It's
good.
really good, man.
Yeah.
I mean that even just the ending alone is worth like. It's better than a lot of the
and
movies.
they kill, and of course all these movies. from Goblet of Fire on. They got to kill one person.
Oh, that's right, Black, man.
They kill Sirius Black.
Lestrange. They give Lestrange a lot, man.
Yeah. Oh, she's
like
God,
basically
she's so great.
Yeah, she's basically like, if I was thinking about it as I was watching Deathly Hallows Part 2 last night. She's basically like his number 2.
Oh yeah, for sure.
She's like it would go Voldemort and then Lestrange.
Yeah, if Voldemort's the Emperor, she's Vader.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I was thinking about it, and I was like, she's
that.
basically like if he dies, it's Lestrange who's taking over.
Yeah,
because she's so like prominent.
And in the books too, he's got like more followers. Like one dude's I think one dude's a werewolf too. And he's in the movie, but he's just
Greyback.
not. Yes, yeah, I think Greyback's the werewolf. They're a lot more fleshed out in the books and shit.
Yeah, it's definitely
like the concept of a Death Eater,
the
someone
Death Eaters,
that that's such a cool, badass metal name
it is
too.
Pretty cool.
It's really, really cool.
Yeah. Let's move on to probably one of my favorites. It's up there, man, and that's Half-Blood Prince.
Yeah, this was my second favorite.
This one is so good, man.
Look,
I've rewatched this one again recently, a day or two ago. It's so freaking good, man. The way they build it up and the way, again, we keep saying the word, but it's just true. The way it just gets darker, and then this one even goes darker.
See, here's the thing, though. This was I saw the first 2 in theaters when I was younger.
Yeah.
Didn't see 3, 4, and 5 in theaters. I don't know. Maybe I just kind of like grew up like, oh, I don't care about Harry Potter. Saw the 6th one, and then saw part 1 and 2. When I saw the 6th one, I was like,
that's exactly how it went for me.
Yeah,
exactly
okay.
how it went for me.
Yeah, like when I saw the 6th one, I was like, oh, this is like, what's going on? Nothing's happening. It's kind of boring. Whatever. I used to think that for the longest time. When I got back into the movies and I rewatched them and I started rereading them, I realized that not only is this the darkest movie out of all of them, it's the funniest one too.
Yeah,
it is.
That's kind of true.
Fucking hilarious
because it's got the love story.
Yes,
yeah.
Whereas like they tease the love stuff in 4 and 5. This whole movie's about love.
Yeah,
it's 100% all about love.
Yeah. This one is a little bit more mature too, bro. Because there's some.
I was gonna say I don't even think it's about love. I think it's about horniness.
That's
bro.
what I'm saying. Let's go. I was gonna say this is about one thing,
Robert,
and it's about
horniness is love.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
I was gonna say, man,
same thing.
I was watching this movie for the first time. When I was watching it for the first time, the whole time it kind of clicked in me. I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
All these girls want to be with Harry Potter because he's the chosen one.
He's the chosen one.
And they're all like, oh, we want
girls using love potions.
Yeah, and they're like, we want
to
sleep with the chosen one. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. And I think
this movie just went there.
One of the sweetest things, because like there's that will he, won't, will she, won't he, like that tension between Harry and Hermione. Oh, yeah.
Like, that's what's great because he's such a like wholesome young man.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's like, oh, bro, I'm the motherfucking chosen one,
yeah.
bro.
Well, yeah, he's
like
even
I can
like,
get with any girl, and then Hermione's like, they just like you because you're the chosen one, and he looks at Hermione, he's like,
but
yeah, I am the chosen, bitch. This is what I do, bitch.
Yeah. It's great.
He's
though.
like, so what, man?
Yeah,
I love the stuff with Ron too. How he's kind of getting a little bit more confident and whatnot.
And the freaking the horny girl that's after him.
Yeah.
It's great, man.
I was like, damn, when Ron gets love potioned, yo, that's crazy. Like, everybody's just trying to. It's cuffing season.
It's a nice. It's such a sweet.
And it is set during like Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah. It's such a sweet and beautiful moment though when he's like laying in the hospital bed.
Yeah.
And he's like going back and forth and he says Hermione's name.
Because I love Hermione and Ron, man.
Oh yeah.
I think they're great. And I can't lie, the whole time I'm like, come on, Ron.
Yeah, get after.
Come on, Ron.
Yeah.
And then the same with Ginny Weasley when he's like, and it's like Ginny's Weasley.
Get it right.
He's with Dean. Is it Dean Smith?
Dean Norris. That's fucking Breaking Bad.
Isn't it Smith?
Maybe it is Dean Smith.
I think it's Dean Smith. But either way, I was like, come on, Harry.
Dean Thomas.
Yeah. I was like, come on, Harry. Come on, step up your game, bro. Like the whole time I'm doing that.
Well, I've always been like Harry and Hermione. Like that should have been the thing. Like
really?
I was
gonna say we'll get to that with Deathly Hallows. They kind of touch on that a little bit.
Yeah.
But the fact that I don't know, man. This movie, you're right. There's a scene where that girl's going crazy and she's crying, and Dumbledore is like they're just standing there, and Snape and Albus and they're like
true
love. It's so
again.
awkward.
And he just walks
and
off.
you're like, this is weird, man.
But you see, like, you get all that fluff and you get all that, and then this is the movie where they introduce Horcrux and all that, but then you know that the ending itself.
It's so
sad. It's so fucking sad.
It's so good though, man.
It's really good.
It's so good. Like the fact that the way they set up the Vanishing Cabinet, the way they have the whole Snape Unbreakable Bond.
Yeah. Tom Felton is great.
The way Draco is just like struggling with like all that stuff.
It's the first time Draco isn't like
a straight villain,
piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, he
Exactly.
stays away from it all.
See, that's why I like this movie. To me,
That's
this
a good
movie,
point.
to me, this
Yeah.
movie felt like it was the first time that every character had more than just a basic archetype.
Look, Draco's always been kind of a pussy.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
always been annoying.
Yeah, he's always been that. But now he's been tasked because his father's in Azkaban after Order of Phoenix. It's like now he has all this pressure to live up to the Malfoy name to serve Voldemort himself, and now he's being pressured into it. But we eventually find out that Dumbledore knew this was happening.
Yeah.
He didn't want it to happen because he had Snape in his ear with it all. But like again, you don't know any of this stuff, so it's great not knowing it, and then going back and rewatching it, and you see the tiny little hints. It's just it makes you feel for Snape more than anything.
And the way they build up the Horcruxes
Yes.
in this movie.
The Horcrux.
I was going to say the Horcrux.
The Horcrux.
It's the spell the hoes put on me.
Hey,
Horcrux. Yo, that bitch got me in a Horcrux, bro.
Bitch trying to kill me. I put myself in a Horcrux. She can't get that
Nah,
shit.
she can't get that shit. Nah.
But either way, I mean, the way they build that with a Slughorn, it's
he's
so
great
good,
too.
man. I mean,
Yeah.
the idea of breaking down your soul and making yourself immortal, and the fact that that's considered so evil is so well done. And like you said, man, the comedy is the Luna Lovegood is a freaking so funny.
Oh,
in
she's
this movie.
wonderful. She's
The
introduced
way-
in Order of
the-
Phoenix, and then this one, it's just like
when they're hyping up the Quidditch match and she just turns around and she's wearing the lion outfit.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Hey, Harry."
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Oh, hey, Luna." And you're like, everyone knows a Luna in their life.
Yeah.
And the way that I love the scene where Hermione is talking to Harry. And Hermione is like, well, I was going to go with Ron, and Ron's going with this girl, and then now this girl is like, what are you going to do, Harry? You could have just gone with me or something. He's like, no, I'm going to go with someone cool. And then it cuts, and it's him and Luna.
It's
great.
Don't worry, I've got someone.
Yeah,
He's
I was
like,
gonna say,
I got
like,
someone cool, man.
He's really nice to her in this movie. I really like that.
Yeah.
I also really liked. I also really like the fact that I really love that scene where they're in when they first are confronted by the Death Eaters for not the first time, but when they're in the snow all by themselves and then they're just kind of walking back from the thing.
Yeah.
And that felt like a real like horror like kind of scene. And I think that's where the fifth one, the sixth one, and the seventh and the eighth one kind of go for a more extreme like expressionist, almost like horror, almost kind of vibe for it too. So,
Yeah.
and I think the sixth one kind of nailed the tone of being both funny and both like
absolutely right.
gothic and slightly horrific
It's
at
so good.
the same time.
This one is so good, man. And I gotta say, the last thing I'll say about Half-Blood Prince, I mean, besides the Snape stuff, because to me, the way they build up the Snape stuff, where you're kind of believing that, yo, this guy really did play a ploy, and we all thought he was kind of a good guy, a creepy good guy, but he was actually evil this whole time, and he killed him. And, like the way that they're kind of telling you that, but at the same time, you're kind of questioning it. Is so good.
Yeah, especially when we learn. I mean, we can get into that. The stuff that we learn about Snape and Dumbledore, the things that they're planning.
Yeah.
There is some like subtle like okay, he knew that there were gonna be some consequences. So it's like the hate for Harry is very real, but also it comes from a side of love because of how much he loved Lily. But it's just he keeps looking at him, and all he sees is James. All he sees is his father,
so well
and
done.
he can't get that away from him. So when we talk about Deathly Hallows in a second, I'll get into that just a tad bit more. But it's set up because this whole franchise, it's like Snape and Potter. Like there's always been that butting heads and stuff. But at the end of the day, like you find out in Harry Potter, the first movie, that he was trying to protect Harry from that curse that Quirrell was putting on him. And he defends him in Chamber of Secrets that maybe he was just there at the wrong place at the wrong time. There's like subtle hints in there, and it's just been all these years set up for so long to see him do something like that, and in like the innocence of Dumbledore, where he's like, Snape, Severus, please. And then Avada Kedavra, boom, kills him. You're like, what the fuck? And he's like, I am the Half-Blood Prince, bitch. And then he walks away,
when he
drops
says
the mic.
that, it's great. What is this? Sectus Sumporum. I forget.
Sectus Sempre?
Something like that. And then even Severus is like, bro, you're using my spells against me, man? Come on, man. I'm the Half-Blood Prince.
It's the same curse. It's the same spell that he used on Malfoy in the bathroom. Yeah.
The same spell, which is Snape's spell.
Blood Prince.
Yeah, it's so good, man. It's so well done. The last thing I'll say about the Malfoys, man. I kind of like this little side story about the Malfoys and how they kind of always look down on people, and then they just get slapped around.
Oh yeah,
by the Death Eaters, by Voldemort.
Narcissa. I think that's the mother's name.
Yeah, she's great too.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
But the fact that Lucius has got his reputation in the gutter, Draco is trying to prove himself, but he's still a little bitch. Like
even Lucius, like in Deathly Hallows,
Lucius,
he's
man, he literally gets slapped.
My favorite, he's just like, my lord, and he gets his
my
wand.
lord.
No, when he's like slapping, we'll get to Deathly Hallows, but when he's like slapping him in Deathly Hallows, he's like, have you always been this like useless or something like that? And I was like, bro, you're getting bitch slapped right now. That's so bad.
Yeah.
But the Malfoy story is pretty well done. I kind of like the fact that you see the Malfoys as like this rich family who looks down on other people, and now they're kind of getting their due, but at the same time, you kind of feel bad for them.
Oh yeah,
It's really well done, man.
Especially for Malfoy in the end. I mean, they handle it better, obviously, in the books, because like in the movies, like Harry saves him that one time from the fire dragon, and then it cuts to the end. Oh, we're best friends. It's like, oh, okay. There's a little bit of gray area right there, but what can you do? You can only do so much in adaptations.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Let's get to the last two. Famously divided into two movies. I think this was one of the major franchises to do that. This was the first time.
The first one.
Yeah, because I know Hunger Games did it. Yeah. I know Twilight did it.
Twilight did it.
Both of them poop.
Avengers did it.
I don't know about that. Avengers did it.
Avengers technically doing it now.
Avengers are doing it now. That's a good point. Yeah, and it all started with Harry Potter Part 1 and 2. I think it's warranted. I think it works as these two, one long movie, but divided into two.
Well, I think.
What do you think?
For me, I almost think. I don't know. I prefer Part 1 almost to Part 2 because to me, the Part 1 actually feels like a full movie to me. Like Part 1 feels like a complete story.
Whereas Part 2 is just one line.
Part 2 is just like, oh yeah, this is the third act.
That's kind of a good point.
But that doesn't mean I don't enjoy the Part 2. I love Part 2. But just the Part 1 in and of itself, to me, that feels like the most personal Harry Potter movie to me. It feels like the most like character study we're ever gonna see in this franchise.
Would you say it's the slowest one?
I don't think
that's a bad thing.
I don't. Yeah, maybe it is, but to me that's not a bad thing. To me, this is
because they have the tent stuff with Hermione and Harry.
And I love that. I love it. I love it. To me, that's like I've even referenced that in like papers of like this is like an ideal young because these movies are supposed to be.
It's a road trip movie. It's like a road. Yeah,
it's road trip, and then it's also like teen. Like these movies were going from kids movies to being teen movies, and this is the first like young adult moment. I feel like this is like a conflicting love coming to a head between these two people, but yet they're finding humanity and friendship in each other at their like lowest point.
That's a good point. This is where they have to grow up, like literally. They're on their own because the Order of the Phoenix like legit couldn't defend them, and they were like, "Peace out, Harry. Go out here with your three friends and like defend yourselves." This is the first time.
I'll say the sixth one is probably the slowest one, but again, it's not the best. Like
I think it's good. I think it's really good.
Like because the storytelling is engaging enough. I think. Whereas like Harry Potter Part 1, Deathly Hallows Part 1, it's slower because they're stuck on one thing for such a long time, and it feels a little bit stretched out. But again, some of the things are earned because Harry and Ron have never really fought each other.
That's a good point.
Only in Goblet of Fire is when they were like at each other's throats.
Right.
And it comes back up in this one because the Horcrux is doing shit to Ron, and at the same time, like, he misses his family. They have a nice wedding. It gets interrupted. They're ripped away from each other. Yeah. And, like, I think Part 1 starts off with a bang. Like the first hour, like, boom, boom. And then as soon as they get to the woods is when it kind of like, okay, you're stretching this out just a tad bit. But, I don't have, like, too big of an issue with it. I know a lot of people do. But I think it's fine. Because when they eventually do destroy it, because they're just trying to destroy one Horcrux the entire movie.
Point.
The entire movie. And then, whereas in the second one, they do the rest of them. Because two of them are already destroyed,
and then they do the rest in part 2.
Yeah, they do the rest of them. Because even like the Ravenclaw crown is like thrown in there. Like, what? That's in the castle? Oh, quick. Perfect. We're here. So. But
I think to me, I like the fact that it was only one because it was like the most essential one. Like this is the one we need to, and I think it set up everything that was going to go. And Deathly Hallows Part 2, and particularly like the character spheres and what's at stake for each individual person. You know what I mean? And how at the end of the line everybody is like, and to me like I didn't mind it feeling stretched out and we're here for a long time, only because it was like this has been this has been seven films in the making, and it's finally a time that we could settle down and have those real like the quiet
character moments.
The quiet before the storm, like, you know, and it's like, and I really appreciate it on that.
You know what I like too? I like Ron, you were saying it right now. I like Ron's line to Harry when Harry is like, "I know what you mean," and Ron gets pissed. Obviously, he's affected by the Horcrux.
Yeah.
But he's like, "No, you don't. I have a giant ass family, and you ain't got nobody." And I was like, "That's kind of a messed up thing to say," but at the same time, it's kind of true.
No,
like I got people I can lose. Who do you got? Like you got nobody.
And you're dragging me along on this journey.
Yeah, like my whole family's trying to protect you, and they can die at any second. Whereas like your family's dead, man. Like that's a real thing.
It's the internal conflict within every character, like being externalized, either through visually when they're seeing their fears happen, or just through moments like that.
I gotta say, man, when Ron tries to destroy the Horcrux and we see the Voldemort black smoke come out, and when he taunts him with freaking Harry and Hermione, I was like, bro,
like
even
naked, like,
shit, I would be like, give me that Gryffindor sword, man. That's my Hermione, bro. But even I was like getting pumped up. I was like, bro, I'd be pissed too. I'd be like, you can't show me that shit and me not get mad. That was kind of dark. Like the fact of like seeing your best friend hook up with the girl that you love, and you feeling like less than a man.
Well,
like,
that's his biggest fear.
That's his biggest fear. Like he's like nobody, and he's like less than, and like at least his brothers are kind of cool, but he's never been the cool one. And seeing her, like his last chance is Hermione. That's his last chance. Like the one thing that's so cool that he can't achieve is like the greatest Muggle-born wizard of all time, Hermione Granger. And he can finally be happy with that, and then Harry's gonna sweep that away too. Oh, dude, like that! It's such a big moment for Ron.
And I think it recontextualizes a lot of the franchise for him and for Harry and Hermione to some extent too. So
and then it finishes with obviously we're learning about the freaking Hollows, the Deathly Hollows.
Deathly Hollows.
Oh yeah, with the animation, that beautiful animation.
Cool. It's
so
really
cool.
really cool. It's also it's like not trying to confuse you too much. She's like, okay, how many Horcruxes are there? Okay, how many Deathly Hollows are there? Okay, okay.
Let's give you a cartoon so we can.
Let's distract you for a few minutes and do that. But I think they set that up very nicely, and just like the whole idea is behind it, and then that's what Luna Lovegood's father.
It is.
That's Ray Fiennes.
Lucilius Love?
Maybe. I'm trying to think of the actor. The guy who played the lizard.
That's right. That's where I know him from.
I don't know. Something. No, I don't know. But it's like a great little scene and great little tie-up, and then Dobby dies at the end.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Dobby and Bellatrix is like freaking like scarring Hermione. Yeah, that's dark, man.
Oh yeah, that was
like she's branding her and stuff. I was like, ooh, that's real. I felt for Hermione when she was like crying and stuff. I was like, ooh. And finally, it finishes up with part 2, which I can't lie, man. I don't know. It's hard to pick a favorite, but if I would have to pick a favorite, it would probably be this one. It would probably be part 2.
Out of the Harry Potter?
Out of all the Harry Potter, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's. Here's my thing. When I saw this for the first time, I watched this, at my Harry Potter party, and I saw it on a big screen, like a projector screen, and I was like, this is the most packed movie, dense movie, I think is a better word, I've ever seen. There's not a single moment that I could get up to pee in this movie. And I was trying to find one. I was like, okay, I can pee now. Oh, no, wait, there's something else is happening. Oh, wait, oh, crap, we're learning about Snape.
Yeah.
Oh, crap, we're learning about another Horcrux. Oh,
it throws so much
it's so dense to the point that it's a little much.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, I enjoy it because I just feel like it's just dumping. I think this is how Avengers Infinity War 2 is going to be like. I think it's just going to be a giant dump of like, oh my God.
It might be less.
I don't know, man.
Well, I mean, they're completely different because I think like the Avengers series, there's so many more films that have been fleshed out that I think
it's going to be crazy.
Like Infinity War, they proved they can throw a lot of shit at the wall and stick.
I don't know if they proved it. But.
Hey,
the fuck you talking about? Black Panther's overrated.
No. Hey,
man, I stupefied you.
Yeah.
Stupefied.
I like that it lights up. No, but with Deathly Hallows Part 2, it throws it all out there, and it's the one movie. Like I think there's a lot of the movies in the franchise you can jump in and like not having seen some of it and kind of pick up. You have to have seen
All the
everything.
moments.
It leads up to
Everyone
it.
has a great moment in this movie.
Yeah.
Every single character. Neville, the freaking
Neville.
Neville's homie.
Seamus with his explosion.
Seamus with his explosion. Luna Lovegood has
Luna
a moment.
Lovegood, yeah.
Freaking Ron and Hermione and Harry and Mama Weasley.
Oh, yeah,
and,
she got her "get away from her, you bitch" line
yeah,
in there.
man, I mean, every single character feels like they get their due in this movie.
Yeah.
It's so well done.
Yeah, it's probably the best executed like finale in terms of like a franchise movie that you could have asked for.
And this kind of does the Avengers Infinity War type like battle where it's like shit hits the fan and everyone's going ham.
It's crazy, and I think the strongest thing about it, like aside from all the battling and aside from all like the huge themes that are being played all throughout the movie, the one that sticks out to me is the stuff with Snape. Because that's when you realize like, okay, he made this pact with Dumbledore. You find out through his memories from the tears that he has been in love with Harry's mom, and so it makes so much sense why he has such a huge grudge against Harry. But it's also really dark because he knows. And this is where like the little bit of hatred for Harry comes in mind, because he knows as much as he has to protect Harry has to die. And so that's a little bit like, fuck you, you gotta die, but whatever, you're probably gonna come back. Like, because like Harry doesn't know that what's gonna happen after he dies, because when Harry finds out that he has to pass, he's one of the Horcruxes, or he's part of it, that he doesn't know what's gonna happen. And then eventually when he goes into this other area and he's talking to Dumbledore's like, yeah, you could come with me, you can move on. Who knows? I don't know what the hell that means.
Like, it's up
or
to
you
you
can just wait for the next train and go back and try to finish this. And he has to go back and finish it. But I think that's one of the biggest things, the most important thing, because Snape has been such a prominent role in everything. And when Harry learns about it, it's really fucked up. It's really, really messed up, because James Potter was kind of a dick. He's kind of an asshole. He's kind of an arrogant prick. And he shoved all that in there, and Snape was just trying to be a loyal friend, a loyal person to this person, and the one thing that he had left, that little bit of love that he had for Lily, was Harry. And as much as he hated him, he had to sacrifice his own life, because that was the honorable thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole like, you find out the Patronus of Snape is the doe, just like Lily is.
Yes.
Too. I can't lie, man. My first time watching this, I was like, wait a minute, is Snape Harry's dad? Is that what we're learning right now?
Yeah.
I thought that for a second. I mean, obviously I figured it out, but
You never know.
JK tweets it out. She tweets it out.
So she's on
Actually,
she's on her deathbed. She's like, "Yo, Snape's the father.
Snape's the father, and he's really gay.
That's
Get
funny.
that cloak."
No,
He was gay for James the whole time.
I do gotta say, I saw this movie 2 times the first day it came out. The Friday,
I didn't see it in
July.
theater, man.
Yeah,
I wish I did. I saw it again.
Pretty
I saw
epic.
It was
2 years
amazing.
ago.
Yeah.
Even the trailer for it, despite the
trailer,
but the trailer that they have is like, it's a combination trailer.
Yeah,
it's like
of all the
it's a
movies.
trailer for part 1 and 2. So
Yeah.
it's like all the footage you're seeing is like, okay, which part is this for? It's like there's like a clever way of promoting the movie. They obviously had like another trailer just for part 2, but I remember sitting in the theater, like seeing that trailer, and like the kids flying on the brooms as Hogwarts is like a mess and people are battling back and forth. And
so cool.
By the way, shout out to Maggie Smith as McGonagall.
Oh
my god! There's a
she's
line
great.
she has in part 2. She's like, "I've always wanted to do that
Oh,
spell,"
yeah.
and I love her so much. She's so good.
My favorite actually is Seamus.
Oh,
When she's
yes,
like,
yes.
Are you seriously gonna let us do this? And she's like, blow it up. Like boom, and she's like, yes, like boom.
Yes.
And she says that. I was like, that's great.
Yeah,
it's so
great stuff.
good.
Yeah.
There's so many great moments. I mean, Neville has a great moment in this movie when he kills
he kills
Nagini.
Nagini, yeah.
I'm sorry. Come with me, Nagini.
Yeah.
The way Voldemort speaks in this movie is amazing. The freaking. The moment where Harry finds out that the snitch, the golden snitch, the
Has
first
the,
one
resurrection
has
stone.
the resurrection stone, to me was like amazing. Like
makes so much sense.
everything comes together in that scene.
Yeah.
And just the final battle, man, it really is the true epicness that the
'Cause that's
Harry
the
Potter
thing.
movies have been building up to.
Yeah, because the thing was like, if you haven't, for me, someone who didn't read the books, like I didn't know how the book or the movie ended, and it's you never know, is it going to be the thing? Are they going to change the ending? You know, they did that shit a little bit with the Twilight movies. I heard, as I didn't read the book, but I saw that shitty movie.
I know.
Did you read the book?
Yes.
Oh God.
Oh yeah, you love the Twilight movies,
yeah,
right?
They're great films.
Okay, don't talk about
your
it.
Twilight is my Hunger Games, man.
Oh Jesus.
I love Hunger Games too.
All right. I'm sorry for bringing up
Back
Twilight.
to Harry
Potter. No, but like, so I'm thinking like, okay, what's gonna happen in the end? Is Harry gonna die? And it's like, yeah, he dies.
Yeah, he does.
He comes back,
He
but
comes
he
back.
still dies.
He still died, man.
Still dies. He has to come back.
Yep.
It's a clever way of like, you know, if she's writing in this thing and kids are looking forward, because the last book came out when the movies were coming out, and I think they overlapped each other, and so people are like, you know, is Harry gonna die? And you're like, oh, I'm not gonna say shit. And then when he dies, and you think he's dead for that certain moment, you're like, oh fuck, they killed him. You're like, no, they're gonna bring him back. Yeah, it's fine.
But so does he come back to life in the book, or?
Yeah, he comes back
okay,
and he kills.
Okay.
Tom.
Yeah.
Tom.
I love
you
when
and me together, Tom.
I love when he says that.
Oh, yeah, it's
I
great.
love it because he's almost kind of like taunting him.
Oh, yeah, because he
wants to be
despises
like
his name.
this big Voldemort guy, but he's like, no, you're a little bitch, Tom. And I was like,
Tom.
oh shit, he called you a little bitch.
Yeah.
Like when he says it, I was like, that's kind of cool, man.
Yeah,
like,
that was nice.
The way Harry starts to taunt him, I was like,
He
oh,
became a man. He
really
went
did.
from boy to a man. Like I said, the whole Harry Potter franchise is boyhood. The fantasy version of boyhood.
And the way let's say that the way it ends, 19 years later, we see him at Hogwarts Express. We see him at
I cry every
9
time.
3/4.
I cry every time.
Yeah.
It's fucking beautiful.
It's
beautiful.
great.
The makeup's cheesy as fuck, but it's beautiful.
It's so good.
Just wonderful.
It's
it just
so
shows that
good.
they care about it. You
Like
know?
they grow up and they see their kids go off to Hogwarts. Come on, man.
that's
How
nice.
can you
It's
not
wonderful.
cry?
That's nice.
Even I get chills, and I
get
just
chills.
watch these movies.
And the score is beautiful. The score, by the way, obviously John Williams' score plays all throughout. But I think
Alexandra Duplass.
Yes, yeah, baby. His theme's pretty great too.
Amazing.
Really,
That's
really
what really got me into the later films, was the music just
It's so
me.
iconic, especially in Order of Phoenix. There's a certain score in that one, a piece that sticks out to me. That bum 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 bum.
Yeah,
bum,
yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
That one's
I know
my
that
favorite.
one.
That was during the training montage, right?
Yeah, it's my favorite piece. It's wonderful. I will say before we wrap up the movies, the one thing that does bug me is not so much it's the final act. I love things in final acts killing off characters. I think it's definitely earned and warranted, especially when you've journeyed for so long. I just think some of the characters that are killed, they were just like, oh, they're dead. Oh,
Like
Lupin,
Remus
Tonks.
Lupin.
They're dead.
Yeah.
Okay. Fred Weasley. Okay, whatever. He's one of the twins. But there's
I
some.
thought he died. I thought it was gonna die in Half Blood Prince. Remember when he gets hit?
Yeah. Or no, I think that was George that got hit in the air.
You're right.
It might have been George. I think got hit in the air, and then Fred gets killed. But obviously, I think that's how it is in the book, kind of too.
Okay.
As far as it's been a minute since
Like you said, I think it's warranted. I think it works.
Yeah. There's certain but even fucking what's his name? Colin, the kid that takes the photos in Chamber of Secrets.
That's right.
Fucking dies too. It's like, oh my god, because there's in the books they're sneaking away the younger kids because it's like, yo, you guys don't know spells.
Yeah.
You got to go away.
There you go.
Colin comes in, he's like, no, I want to help you, Harry, and he ends up dying. It's like, oh my god, it breaks my heart.
Dude,
the chick who loved fucking Ron
I
gets
was
killed.
gonna say that's a little girl, man. I felt
It's
so
Eden.
bad. She's
Yeah.
like 17, and I was
Yeah.
like, that's kind of messed up.
Crab
that-
and or Goyle, one of the two, they
Yeah.
get killed too.
Oh yeah.
The other guy in real life went to prison, I think.
You know who's the unsung hero of this movie? Freaking Warwick Davis, man. As,
yeah.
as Grip Hook and
Flitwick.
Flitwick, yeah,
Flitwick?
yeah. What the freaking conductor of the choir,
Yeah.
which is great
That's
too.
pretty cool. That's not in the book. I think that's
just
Quran being
cool.
fucking weird.
That's just cool. I think he's the unsung hero too. I don't know. I just overall think this movie's pretty amazing. I think the
pretty
whole
great.
franchise it's the perfect conclusion to the franchise.
This
It
and
is.
Breaking Bad, two best endings.
One of the best endings,
shit.
100%, dude.
Now, see, here's the thing.
Avatar:
I know,
The Last Airbender. I'll leave it at that.
The
That's
movie?
another. No,
Yeah.
the
show's
The
great.
show,
Yeah,
the
show's
ending
great.
for that show.
Okay. All right.
I haven't watched Core yet, but
The Leftover season 3.
great.
Beautiful ending.
I disagree with that one.
Ooh.
I disagree with you.
Oh.
Fight on. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
Expelliarmus.
kidding. Yeah. Oh, there we go. It's fight on. Yeah. There. Now here's I'll put this question out there.
Yes.
Okay? I know we're in Fantastic Beasts right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say-
J.K. Rowling's doing all that shit. I know she's got the Cursed Child, which she didn't write. She came up with the story for it, and then 2 other peeps wrote it. Fine, whatever. It's fan fiction. Doesn't count for me. It's not canon. Do you think she's got? I think she's got something in her back pocket. You think she's got not a revival series, but a continuation
No.
You don't think it's back there?
The reason why no is because of what I just saw with the Crimes of Grindelwald.
Okay.
It's all this movie's. She's trying to do the same thing she did with the Harry Potter films. It's so much build up.
Yeah.
Like I finally got it when I was watching Graham's Crimes of Grindelwald because I was like, wait a minute. Eventually, we're going to see Albus and Grindelwald fight, right?
Or kiss.
Or both. But at the same time, I was like, they're gonna fight, and it's gonna be like the 6th movie.
Even the blood pack thing. I was like, are we doing the Horcrux thing?
Well, I thought they were just doing. I thought they were just doing a trilogy for the Fantastic.
No.
They got 5 planned.
Five,
homie.
Five.
I told you. Yeah. So I feel like
Fantastic Beasts, and where are we going with this?
Man.
Jesus Christ!
It's so much build up. And it worked with Harry Potter, but for this, I feel like.
I thought it was going to be 1, 2, and 3.
But see, that's what I'm saying, though. Like you don't think she's got another trilogy of books in her back pocket?
I think she's so occupied with Fantastic Beasts and building this movie and probably saving these movies, to be honest, man. Because it's going to... I
don't know. She wrote the screenplay for this, and it's just like...
I was going to say, I think it's going to... I think you're going to have a huge drop-off this weekend for box office. And I think it's going to be the kind of drop-off that Warner Brothers is like...
I don't know.
Hey, JK, can we have a meeting?
Well, I think it's going to be... You got to also consider they make billions off of these toys. They're not just going to toss this franchise in
I'm
the
not
trash,
saying they're going to toss it, but I'm saying they're going to do kind of like... Hey, do you have like what's your plan for this? Like, is it gonna be good? Because I don't know, man. This movie is gonna be dragged out. Like I was thinking about the way they build up like the World War II type stuff. I was like, we're gonna see. It was dark.
Yeah,
but
I
I
like
was
that scene. Yeah,
I like that scene too. But I was like, we're gonna see World War II, and we're gonna see like it's gonna be like, are we gonna go into the Cold War?
Yeah,
like you know what I'm saying? Like, is this gonna be like 5 movies, man? Like,
what's the ending?
What's the ending?
What's it gonna lead up to? Is it gonna lead up to? Is James and Lily gonna be in it at some point? Like I don't want to see that. You know, keep it its own.
Are we gonna see Little Tom too?
Yeah, because Grindelwald doesn't die.
What's up?
Grindelwald doesn't die.
He doesn't die.
I mean, he. I don't know if I think Voldemort kills him in the last one, but or he confronts him asking where the Elder Wand. Maybe he doesn't.
No,
but yeah, because we don't even talk about Grindelwald in the Harry Potter one. He's so small in the movie and stuff.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know.
It's just I'm curious. Where is this franchise going?
I think in 30 years they're gonna come back. They're gonna make a Harry Potter episode 9 with the older Harry Potter. And it's gonna be the same Star Wars shit that we've been seeing like every franchise do. Like,
well, I think that's
kind of what they're doing with Fantastic Beasts, man. I mean,
but with her involvement.
That's what I'm saying with the J.K. Rowling, George Lucas type thing.
No, I think this is the prequel. I think that we're going through the prequel.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is the prequel.
I'm telling you, 30 years.
Give it a few years. Give it a few years.
30 years from now.
You think they'll reboot it?
You'll see.
I'm telling you, it's gonna be a Force Awakens of Harry Potter.
What is his name? Albus Severus Potter. We're gonna see the Albus Severus Potter trilogy.
And then
we've already got the Cursed. So
that's true.
Yeah. I mean that's probably what they're gonna end up adapting is that like in 30 years, which I think I don't know, man.
I kind of wouldn't mind though.
Really?
Like I wouldn't mind. I don't know.
I won't read it, but if me and my lady are like in New York, I'm like, oh, maybe we'll go see the play.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of cool. You know, I don't care for plays, but if it's Harry Potter, sure, why not?
Yeah.
I think I've talked about this before. Like, you know, I don't know J.K. Rowling. I haven't like actually read the screenplay for Fantastic Beasts or anything, but I do know that there is a huge difference than writing a novel and writing a screenplay from experience. And
plus too much power.
Too much power.
Because I'm going to say she had a big hand in these Harry Potter movies, but not as much as in the Fantastic Beasts. Fantastic Beasts, it's all her.
Yeah, it's all her.
It's almost like she wrote the screenplay.
Like, let her be involved. Like, I love Stephen King, but I don't want him writing the screenplays.
Yeah.
Like, he's a fantastic writer as far as a novel goes, but it's just, you know, there's a big... Everything in novels is in your head. It's all imaginative. Whereas you're painting that picture physically to come to life on the screenplay, and it's so much different. You're not inside the characters' heads. You're not inside, and it might be maybe she's just so wrapped up in this bubble, like she knows everything so much that she needs that outside perspective. Like, okay, but these people don't know that. They don't know this world like you do, which is perfect for her to be a consultant on. But, you know, have someone to go in, write the screenplay.
It felt like the messy parts were her. J.K. Rowling, the Lestrange parts felt messy, and I felt like that's
the
J.K.
timeline. Like,
the timeline.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what
the
they're doing.
Dumbledore stuff with Credence. I was like, come on, J.K. Like, I know you want to push this, but
Yeah.
It felt a little much.
I mean,
I'm curious where it's gonna go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think of course they're having the big hand. I think also just adaptation in general, like the whole idea of a novel being a novel and a book being a book, a novel being a novel, book being a book, movie being a movie. The movie, if you're taking it from a book or a novel, like the whole idea is that you need to take the essential elements, right? Like, whereas I feel like a lot of Fantastic Beasts so far has been the non-essentials that could have, like I think if you're telling me that there's 5, wow, 5, like to me, like
off of a fictional textbook that she wrote. Based in the Harry Potter universe. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is supposed to be a textbook by Newt Scamander. And in these movies, he's saying, I'm writing a book. So it's like they're not actually based off of anything. This is stuff that she's coming up with.
Yeah, that makes
that's what I'm saying. Like, if there's going to be 5, like these first 2 movies could have easily been condensed into one if you just cut out all the bad shit, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's a lot. It's just a lot. I don't know. I felt like that was the biggest. I actually kind of enjoyed Crimson Renewal, but at the same time, I did notice, like, man. This movie, I bet you this movie was like a 3-hour cut too, because it felt like there were some moments where I'm like, this dragged out, and then they had moments where it was like so cut and so quick.
Yeah, they broke the 180 line like 4 times. Not that I was counting, but
you were counting.
They really
fucking
did.
Film student, you. I follow the rule.
I caught that too, though, man. And I was like, that's
how many times do you do that in Flicktics? Huh?
I don't know.
I'm gonna go fucking watch it right now. How many times you break the 180?
It's probably at least 18. I can tell you that right now. It's probably at least 18.
The best filmmakers do it.
Hey.
All right, real quick, going around, favorite character.
Oh, shit.
Starting with Mr. Robert.
I only know like 5
Robert
characters.
from House Gryffindor.
Do you want me to say one of the 5
favorite
characters?
Character.
Can I just say Harry Potter?
Top 3 characters, real quick. Because we're 2 hours into this podcast, and I'm tired.
Dude, I have no idea. I don't know who's the character in this. I'm gonna say Harry. I'm gonna say Luna, and I'm gonna say who's Robert Pattinson? Cedric. I'm gonna say him.
He has 2 lines in the movie, Robert. 2 lines in the movie, Robert. Lupin. I love
And
Lupin.
what's your house again?
Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! Wait, can I go back and say Sirius Black instead?
You can't. It's over. No, I'm kidding. You can't.
Sirius Black. Yeah. I mean, he's my favorite one. I have his wand. So
I'm gonna say
Lupin. Yeah. Lupin's dark as fuck.
Hermione, Snape, and Dumbledore.
Oh, we're doing 3. Fuck it. I'm doing Lupin. I'm doing McGonagall, and then I'll do Ron.
Nice. Oh, Ron.
Favorite spell or line?
I don't have a line.
Jeez.
Spell. Expelliarmus.
Expelliarmus is great.
That's all I know.
What's the
Expecto Patronum?
Expecto Patronum's dope. What's the freezing one?
Stupefy?
It's not Stupefy.
Stupefy is the stun.
What about what's the wand where you get the wand back?
Expelliarmus?
Maybe it is that.
Expelliarmus is disarm, I think.
Disarm.
Yeah.
I could take the
Guardian Leviosa is floating. What's the opening
Guardian
locks?
Leviosa. Loomis.
Alohomora.
Oh, that's a good one.
Aloha Moron. Yeah.
Mine is still from Voldemort, and no one said it better.
Yeah.
And with that, guys, that concludes our podcast on the Harry Potter franchise, Fantastic Beasts franchise. Hopefully, you guys listen all the way through. Yeah. Hopefully, you guys are Potterheads like Mr. Copser, and hopefully, you guys are fake fans like me and RB3. No, I'm kidding. Fake fans now. Recent converts, recent fans. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this conversation. Leave us in the comments down below. What is your favorite line? What's your favorite Harry Potter quotes?
Let's give a round of applause to Copster for...
Give a round of applause to Copster.
I'm going to get yelled at for getting names wrong and stuff.
Yell at us at the comment section. We'll be reading that next week on our episode. We appreciate you guys listening all the way through. And for the Meaning of Podcast, I am Ace.
This is RB3.
And this was Copster. Thank you so much for coming in once again, man.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, my bloods.
Yep. Hey. We are peacing out. Peace out, guys.
Deuces.